Good evening everyone and welcome to round number 4 of the Performance Link GT3 Cup here at Road America. This is the first of 3 Format Bs we have got for you this season, which is a 2-hour race around the tricky track that is Road America. My name's Andy Thompson. I have Tom Bingham alongside me, my co-host. Hopefully the sound is a lot better and we will get through this one pretty much unscathed. But welcome, Tom. Road America is going to be an interesting round.
Yeah, Road America, you know, built in the 1950s, right around a lake. You know, nice floodplain to build on, but that's fine. It's one of those tracks that's long, very long endurance, twisty corners, some nasty narrow sections, especially on the back half of the course, with a lot of walls around as well. So, you know, I expect to see some serious action and a lot of guys having a hard time here.
Definitely is. So this is round 4. The drivers do have 2 drop round scores that still need to be applied and will be applied after this round. But let's go ahead and have a look at the current standings as they are at the moment. So Thomas Wangen leads out the pros over the slenderest of margins of 1 point over his teammate Neil Erik Isaacson, who had a great round around round Atlanta last week. Daniel Sedgley, after a great run early on at the moment, is still there in the hunt on 38 points. And a bit of a gap back to our Season 1 champion Scott Mokes there on 26. Michael Hooper, our newly promoted Pro-Am Season 1 winner, there in 5th place on 20 points. Then it's tied between himself and Nikolai Thrain and Ketiel Larson for 6th and 7th, with Thomas Cope in 8th. Arish Mantis in 9th, and heading out the field is Lasse Sorensens. So let's have a look at the Pro-Ams. So over in the Pro-Ams, James Logston's got off to a commanding lead at the start in the first 4 rounds, 43 points over Lee King McGee, a newcomer to the season, doing exceptionally well on 37. Alexander Scaret there on 31. 30 points is Sander Island, our Season 1 AM winner there in 4th place, are doing very well in the Pro-Am category. Casper Tungsten there in 5th place on 22, with Kim Andre Borkland on 22. Sophia Ridpath, who obviously is missing a round score already, has done exceptionally well at the moment there in 7th place. Russ Fowler in 8th. Struggling to find a little bit of form is Russ, but I'm pretty sure that he'll get to grips with the car coming into the latter half of the season. Michael Goff there in 9th place, with John O'Cook in 10th. Moving over to look at the AMs. So in the AMs, we have Tom Savage currently heading the way on 40 points. Paul Ward just 7 points behind there on 33, tied with Stefan Anderson at the moment from Dane Racing. Simeon Moldeklev had a great opening round in Canada, but sort of slipped away a little bit, so needs to gather some form back again today. 27 points, equal with Jimmy Vark in 5th place. 6th place is Gordon Haig, 7th place is Simeon Hendricks, in 8th place we got Patrick Wald, in 9th place we got Michael Cody, and 10th we got Stefan Albanese. Going across to the rookie class. So currently leading the way is Sam Curran on 43, closely followed by Alan Sandergaard on 35, joined with Nicholas Gronstrom as well. Our season 1 rookie winner Paul Joseph Kliss there in 4th place, only 3 points off the top 3 positions there. Torben Miley in 26 points there. Ian Henneby, Jonathan Werner in 7th, Dave Chadwick in 8th, Stefan Fonzie and Matthew Green still yet to score in there. And in the team championships, let's have a look at the teams. So we currently have Dean Pearpope out front on 86 points, followed closely by IGL Coatings Racing by Sunday Traffic Skull in 2nd place on 81. Team Bearpope 0 there on 76 points, and last season's team champion Sim Racing Norway in 4th place. Dane Racing in 5th place on 68 points, with Olympus Esports Redstone 64 in 6th, with Olympus Esports Area in 7th. 8th place we got Reckless Abandon, in 9th we got AKM Racing UK, and in 10th place we got IGL Coatings E-Racing by Kenzo. So quite close at the moment, and we still got the drop round scores to come into effect, Toms, but it seems to be a lot of the championships are going to be really close this season.
Yeah, I was just going to say congratulations on getting through that mouthful. that's a massive mountain of people you got through on the standings there. So, but yeah, back to the points. Yeah, each class has got a solid battle running through at the moment. We've got a very, very close margin, obviously in pro, especially in AM as well, and even going down to the rookies, it's anybody's championship at this point. We're still in the early rounds. This is our very first endurance event that we've had so far for the 2-hour solo. 2-hour solo, it's not an easy thing to do around a course like this. Le Mans, 2 hours, not really a problem. You get the nice long straight so you can have a relax. But around here, there's not much time to breathe. The walls are close. It's going to be an interesting round, definitely.
It certainly is. But let's have a look around a lap of Road America here from one of our drivers, Thomas Scope, to give you a little flavour of what the drivers have got coming at them here. So let's have a look here when it loads up. So basically a really long start-finish straight where the drivers will hit up to 6th gear by the end of this straight going into the first corner. First corner is going to be really treacherous on that opening lap. The tyres are going to be nice and cold, and this is a super quick corner. You see it go down to 5th, coming down to 4th, down to 3rd. Some drivers may leave it in 4th gear to go around this. So really open things, so close racing at the start will be entertaining. Coming down here into turn number 3, really need to get a good exit using all of the track on the outside to maximize your speed down the Moraine sweep here, coming down into probably one of the most treacherous corners into turn number 5, the left-hander, really tight and late on the braking, using all the course right over to the right-hand side, nipping right across, jump across the curbs before getting out up here. And what I think is probably one of the trickiest corners, turn number 6, it's an off-cambered corner and easily to be able to spin the car there. Coming up into turn 7, drivers will be brave here to try and get through there flat out. They probably will be able to early on, but certainly won't when them tyres start wearing. Coming down into turn number 8 here. Turn number 8 before they get onto the carousel. They really need to hold their nerve going around here and making sure they get on that power at the earliest opportunity to slingshot them out of here before they come through probably another treacherous corner on this track, the kink. You know, you get this slightly wrong. Certainly when your tyres start wearing and going out wide, as soon as you hit that grass, we may see a few cars spinning there before sprinting down another small straight to Canada corner, another one for the yeets up onto the inside, and we might see a few cars going into the sand trap on the outside before we get to the latter start end of the race through 13A. Coming up the end, 14 again is imperative. You use all the track, trying to get on the inside and then accelerating out to try and maximize the speed before you come up through the start finish again. I mean, that is a lap 4.04 miles long, 14 corners, 15 if you include 13A. So it's a very long track, and we're expecting the lap times to be around about 2 minutes 4 to 2 minutes 6. Varying on the classes, so it's going to be an interesting track, and it is a very tricky track, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, this track's you know, it's not one for the faint-hearted, really. I know we say that about a lot of different tracks, but this one, it just, you know, it will bite you. It will bite you very, very badly if you get it wrong, because as you can see by the guys going around on track, and even by the CNET cameras that we've got up at the moment, you can see that the walls are very, very close around here. If you make a mistake, you haven't got much runoff. It's a treacherous place. Long straights promote very, very intense battling going into corners. And with the small amount of runoff that you've got, it's going to be very messy for a lot of drivers. So I wanted to mention as well, we've got a couple of guys in the YouTube chat. So hello to Jono, Eric Logston, and Stephen Pierce in the chat already. I'm assuming we'll get Mr. Mokes in soon as well. He's one of our regulars that comes and watches us on the channel here. So we have also started a raffle, so you guys can enter !hashtag raffle, and you can win yourself one of these lovely Performance Link t-shirts. So that raffle's got live at the moment, and we also have a guest driver joining us who's come in as a bit of a wild card. So we've got F1 driver Antonio Giovinazzi joining us for this round to spice things up a little bit and you know, put a bit of pain to the pros, hopefully, and see how they handle that.
Certainly is. Obviously, we're going up in the world if we can manage to get an F1 driver to come and join us on the grid for a race. So thank you very much, Antonio, for joining us here for this 2-hour endurance event. And it is going to be different, and strategy is going to be all the more important here. They're used to an hour and 10-minute races. You know, they still have to do a pit stop. So I think they're going to have to go really deep to try and do that one pit stop in this 2 hours. There is the possibility that some may try a 2 pit stop, but I would imagine that would be slower. Whereas, you know, in the previous rounds, we've seen drivers taking tyres, some are not taking tyres. I think when they get into this realms of a 2-hour race, then it's probably going to be a given that all drivers are going to change tyres.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be one set change because people aren't going to make it to the end of the race, but you know, are you going to do a double set? It really depends. I mean, are we able to bring up the track temps and see what the guys are handling today? That would be ideal. So, right, so the guys got 27-degree track temp at the moment. It's 29 degree. It's fairly warm out there at the moment. So if it continues to heat up, then potentially it's going to scrub the tyres quite hard. There's a lot of high-speed loading on the tyres around this track as well. So we may end up seeing people doing the double stint on tyres, or maybe taking 2 sets. It's anyone's race. It all comes down to pit strategy a lot of the time, like it has in previous rounds. So especially in this one that's going to be over the 2-hour length, it's going to really mix things up for the drivers.
Certainly is. I mean, it's completely different than what we had last season. Last season we had a fixed setup for the drivers to pretty much take all the hassle of setting their car up, and obviously had fixed fuel, so they were very much set with what they could do in the session. Now this season 2, we've given an open session. They can have as much fuel as they want in the car to be able to be getting on with, but it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers approach this race. We've seen some drivers trying to undercut other drivers, but being like it's an hour race, and you know, the normal stint length for GT3 cars is round about an hour, so I wouldn't imagine anybody will try to undercut, because then they'll have to do a splash and dash in the end, and it's going to be interesting to see if any of the drivers do actually miscalculate their fuel to be able to not have enough fuel at the end of the race, because that could be a race ender, certainly if it's close battling out on track.
Yeah, speaking of fuel, I mean, you don't want to try and run it long here. There's a good amount of slipstreaming available on this track, so fuel economy you can save, and you might even be able to stretch out a lap or two if if you do a bit of roller coasting for some of the more experienced drivers. But looking down into the AMs or the rookies, these guys aren't going to have necessarily the knowledge or the ability to maintain fast lap times while taking it steady on the tires and the fuel load. So it's going to be interesting to see what the guys do on the strategies. Also, another bad thing here, when you're coming into the actual pit lane itself, you're coming in at an incredibly high rate of speed, and that that infamous penalty that you can receive for going too fast in the pits. We've seen it crucify drivers in previous rounds that we've had. I know Thomas Cope, who I'm sure is probably watching. Yeah, please don't hate me, Thomas. I know that he's had some massive unfortunate incidents with speeding in the pits, and it potentially, some of those things could have cost him the championship last season. So it did go to obviously Scotty Mopes, who's running up near the front in Pro this season. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I think the strategy is going to be one of the most fascinating portions of this race, along with obviously the battling and everything else. But it's going to be interesting to see when people come in and what they decide to do on this one.
It's always the same though, isn't it? I mean, the racing out on track is really good, but one thing that probably set apart in this series, and obviously even in season 1, is adding that aspect of having to do a pit stop. And like you mentioned there, this track, we just saw a driver there coming up into the pit lane there. It's literally, you come off that last corner, turn number 14, and it's right in front of you, uphill, and it's going to be so easy to get it wrong. And like you said, it's a 40-second stop-go penalty, and we've seen quite a few drivers have been caught out by that, trying to push it to the absolute max limit, and then getting the 40-second penalty. So I suppose it's the risk you sort of take when you're looking at that, to be able to say, right, okay, do I take it a little bit off, maybe lose a couple of attempts, but I know I'm not going to get that penalty, or do I try and take it right to the line and risk getting that penalty to gain that extra couple of attempts? And that can be the difference when you get to the front end of the grid there. And that's probably a classic one we're seeing on the screen there, the incidents that we're probably going to have down into Canada corner, trying to get that inside line in there. And some of the corners around here really invite you to do that, don't they? The first corner is a prime one, certainly on that opening lap when all the drivers are going to be in close proximity, is going around that corner, somebody on the inside trying to do that little bit too much, pushing out wide and then causing a catastrophe, because it narrows. As we watch the drivers now going around turn number 1, it narrows just here, and basically you normally see drivers hitting the wall and spinning right across the track. And then you got turn 5. Turn 6 is the one that probably a lot of people don't realize is actually quite a treacherous corner, because it's uphill. The braking marker is the bridge, everybody knows that, but people do push it to try and get that extra couple of attempts, go out wide. And because it's a blind corner when we go through, and let's just go on board here as we come down into turn number 5 as we're on with Stefan Albanese. You're coming up into this corner now. If a car spins in front of him, you're not going to know until that car is literally on you. Like, you can sort of see him now if that car's spun out, but it's another treacherous place as and then you've obviously got the kink that we mentioned. People getting slightly offline and trying to push it that little bit too much. And we've probably all seen massive crashes around here coming through the kink because it's such a fast corner.
Yeah, I mean, another corner, we're looking at right now, the guys going around the carousel. I don't know how many times I've never figured out the line for the carousel. Every time I go around there, the car's doing something different. The aero feels slightly different. The tyre wear's different. The fuel load's different. It's another one of those corners that can really, throw you offline for what is one of the fastest sections on the entire track, working your way down to Canada Corner. Canada Corner itself, I mean, you're barreling down there, top of 5th gear, getting into 6th gear, and you've got a ginormous wall in front of you. If you're battling with somebody, sometimes it's easier to just, be patient, wait, take your time. You've got a massive straight coming up on the start-finish straight. You can sometimes just take your time and be a bit more patient. If you're not patient around Road America, it will kill you. It's just one of those tracks that it wants to end you. That's just the way Road America is. So hopefully the guys can handle the pressure this evening.
Definitely is. But the IGL Cotin E-Racing by Sunday Traffic School, always seem to do well in the qualifying, and again they've done well here with the top 3 in the pros are in 1, 2 and 3, so they've really nailed that qualifying session to be able to get at the front of the grid and give them the best shot. We've always seen like Thomas Wangen and Neo-Erik Isaacson up the front, and it's really paid for them to be up there because they've been able to get away from the field slightly and almost let the rest of the field battle it out, which enables them, mainly them 2 guys, to get away from that team to get out front and push on. I think we've only had 1 non-IGL Coatings winner at the moment, Daniel Sedgley of Olympus Esports, after his exceptional race around Watkins Glen. But you know, you've got Thomas Wangen's had 1, Neil Isaacson's had 1, and Daniel Sedgley's had 1 in the 3 rounds. So it's going to be interesting to see if a newcomer can come up and try and take the win here today. But we can see in second place Scott Mokes, our season 1 pro champion, only 0.04 of a second off Thomas Wangen. So maybe this is his lap, and that Porsche should be quite good around here because it's very good on the brakes and very good on the acceleration out of the corners. Not so good on the straight, so may suffer down the start finish line.
Yeah, the BMW Sedgley, I mean, it really should be a car that is on fire around here. But you know, the Porsche Scotty Mokes is obviously, you know, I mean, to be 0.04 off, it's just unbelievable to be that close. So you know, Scotty was previously driving for Performance Link in the last season, getting the championship win and putting in a fantastic effort just by being incredibly consistent. This time it looks like he's not only being consistent, but he's also able to put those fast hard laps in. So another car that should be good around here, I would think, is the Audi. You know, it's got that really good traction coming out of the corners, and what you want is you want to be able to get that speed initialized early so you can carry it all the way down the long straights and get yourself into position to get some slipstream, some tow, and you know, and work your way in to make the passes into the hard braking zones. But you know, if you're up against the Porsche, it, like you said, Andy, you know, it's renowned for having pretty much, I would say, the strongest brakes in GT3, other than maybe, I mean, the McLaren's very strong on the brakes as well. But yeah, I mean, I love the Porsche. It's the one I always drive every time. It's you know, it takes a bit of a scary amount of momentum to make it do what you want it to do, but yeah, on the brakes it should be phenomenal around Road America today. So especially as we see guys running almost all the way over the rumble strips there. So it's yeah, I'm looking forward to see what the Porsche can do around here because it is my favorite car. But you know, watch out for the BMW and watch out for the Audi around here today.
Yeah, it definitely is. As we look at Antonio Giovinazzi there driving the Audi, obviously a test driver for Ferrari out on there, but great to see him. And luckily he's not in any other manufacturer's car like a Mercedes or whatever. That might be a little bit wrong, but they're in the Audi car. But it's a bit weird because there was quite a few Audis at the start of the season. We gave the drivers the opportunity to change their cars. A lot of the drivers, as you can see in the timing tower, sort of went across to the BMW because it's more of a stable platform. It takes the corners really well, certainly if it's high bumped corners. Like some of the probably tracks we've got, Twin Root Multegi coming up towards the end of the season, Bathurst, you know, that's where the BMW would come in on its own. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Antonio can do around here in the Audi. Not sure how much practice he's had. He's literally just jumped in. I think he captured, as we see, a classic example of the kink, what not to do there, Antonio. So great, that was planned there. He was trying to do what most people do. But it's going to be interesting to see, you know, one of the other cars I think that maybe dark horses are the Lamborghinis. I think the Lamborghinis are exceptionally good all-round cars. They sort of got nerfed a little bit in one of the patches, but they seem to be brought back into the fray a lot more now. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Audis can do. But we've got a good mix of car. The only one we haven't got is the Dodo car, which is obviously the Ford. But unfortunately, we couldn't. Nobody wanted to drive the Ford. And
it's gone extinct.
It certainly has. We had to force somebody last season to drive in the car, but no. But as you can see, we got literally a minute left of the practice left before we get into this 2-hour race. Lots of entertainment going to come at you guys, and big thanks for everybody that's joined us on YouTube. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done that, and click the bell for every time we go live. We do this race on a Sunday, and then we do a podcast on a Wednesday where we normally try to get a driver in, have a chat with him, and then go through all the penalties. It's been really good for the drivers to be able to see, and then basically as well as reviewing the penalties, so the people obviously that put the protests in, and the one that is getting protests can see how we've come to the decision. But it's also good for educational for the rookies, because we have got 4 classes in this championship. So we got a pro-am, an amateur, and a rookie championship. So 4 different championships are being vied for in this round. So it's been good there. So thank you very much for joining us, guys, and please keep the comments coming. I've left Tom in charge of reading them out, so if he doesn't read them out, it's his fault on there. But
I've got my glasses on. I'll be alright.
There we go.
You know. I'll do a real quick shout out. There's a massive amount of support at the moment for the Bear Poke guys coming in from Spatula Massa, Eric Logston. Jono wants the Z4 brought back, but that's never going to happen, Jono. So I'll let Andy run us through the start procedure here, and you know, let's go racing.
Definitely is, but let's have a look at the grid. So in pole position, we have Thomas Wangham with pretty much a dead heat time as Neil Eric Isaacson. In fact, all the timers I've gone slightly wrong there. Lance Sorensen in 3rd. 4th place, we got Scott Mokes. 5th place, we got Ketio Larson with Michael Hooper on 6th. Daniel Sedgley in 7th. Farius Yomantis in 8th. And Matt Loveridge in 9th. Then we go over to... And we got at the back of that grid, we saw Antonio Giovinazzi, who's not really got a class here, so he's in a class of his own, but will be mixed in with the pro drivers. Lee King McGee leads out your pro-am field with James Logston, our current championship standing winner in the pro-am, in 2nd place. Kim Andre Borkland in 3rd. Michael Goff in 4th. Alexander Scarrett in 5th. Sophie Ridgepath in 6th. Sander Island in 7th. Casper Tungsten in 8th, and Christopher Otterholt on 9th. David Gill in 10th. Russ Fowler in 11th. Steve Pierce in 12th. Over to the AM, we got Shamapon Asavon. This is the first time he's been on the pole position in that AM, with Simeon Moderclef in 2nd place, with Tom Savage, our current AM leader, there in 3rd. Stefan Albanese in 4th. Stefan Anderson in 5th. Alta Rudd in 6th. Jimmy Vark in 7th. Gordon Hagen 8th. Sammy Hendrick in 9th, with Paul Ward in 10th. In 11th place, we got Mad Sayer with Patrick Weld in 12th, and Michael Cody heading out the last place in the AMs. In the top of the rookies, we got Nicholas Gronstrom with Alan Sondergaard in 2nd. Paul Joseph Kliss in 3rd. Sam Curran, our current rookie standing champion, is in 4th, with Ian Hennerby in 5th, with Torben Miley in 6th place. And that rounds out our current grid, and we do have, I think it's 41 drivers on the grid in total. So it's going to be interesting out on track, and we're just going out on an extremely long out lap, so it gives us plenty of time to talk about who we think is going to win each class there, Tom.
I really want Scotty Mokes to win in pro. You know, I'd love to see the Olympus Esports car, the Porsche itself, getting up there at the front, and you know, putting a bit of paint towards these IGL coatings boys. So you know, they're stacking the grid at the front here, doing a fantastic job, obviously. But you know, I want to see Scotty win, and I will pick the other one from rookies. I would love to see PJC win a race. You know, 2 Olympus cars on the podium would be fantastic.
Yeah, it certainly will be. You can see there the IGL coating sort of locking out that top half of the grid, with only Scott Mokes sort of in between them. At the back of there, you can see Antonio Giovinazzi in that white and green Audi in the midst with the Porsche, with the pros as well. So it's going to be sort of interesting. Looking further back there, we've got the little bit of a gap. So we do have like a 1-2 second gap here between each one of the classes to enable the drivers to get around nice and cleanly. Looking further back then, we've got Shamapon Asavon, who is our leader in the AM. His first one, really. He's done exceptionally well here at Road America to get that #1 place. And it's probably a good one to do it in the endurance, because there is more points on offer. But looking further back at the rookies, we've got them a little bit spread out at the moment. Nicholas Gronstrom there at the front with Paul Joseph Clist in second place. But I think the pole sitter is... did he not come out or something? I don't know. But I'm sure we'll see anyway. But all the drivers just warming up their tyres as much as they can do as we look back further back. So they're just coming down the back straight now before they're coming into Canada corner, turn number 12 out on track. A very tricky one. It's going to be really treacherous on that first lap coming into this corner. Certainly if they're going to be super close out there. But that turn one's going to be interesting as well, so we'll try and give you a shot of each one of the classes as they sort of come through that corner, because yeah, we'll see if we can get any of the action out. Extremely long lap this one, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, you know, it's a big old track, isn't it, Road America? It's the Porsche safety car's taking it nice and steady today. So, but just to add a bit of additional information and to confirm, we are running a 2-second gap today between the classes. So that is why we are seeing a bit of spacing, and hopefully that will avoid incidents in turns 1, 2, 3, 3A, 4, 5, 6. You know, we just try and spread it out a little bit just to make it a bit better. But hey, let's go racing.
Definitely is. As the pace car goes off, now it's all under the control of Thomas Wengen to be able to get this race undergo. He can go on that NTT sign there, so it's up to him where he decides to go, and he's gone there, so he has got a great one. His teammates have just tucked in behind there, and Scotty Moak, so no changes really overall in the pro field as they come up to the first corner there. Thomas Wengen still in first place, Nick Rogers and Lars Sorensen in third, all getting through relatively cleanly into the first corner as we look further back at the Pro-Ams, and they all seem to be getting through. They're all taking it nice and calm here as we look further back at the rookies going through. Everyone's sort of being quite nice here, and I'm not seeing any cars going off, which is very unusual for turn number 1 as we look further back with the rookies coming into turn 1. Can we make it 4 and 4 of everybody getting through turn number 1 at Road America? Yes, I think we can. All in single file now. They've probably realised that it is a long race, a 2-hour race going in, so it's got plenty of time to be able to do any overtaking moves, but it's sort of spread out a little bit there in the rookies, even in this early stage. So it's going to be interesting as we watch. Let's have a look on board with Alan Sandgaard trying to make a passing move here, coming down into turn number 5. Got that inside line. We'll have a poorer exit coming out the corner. So Wiswick, oh, it's the BMW in front of Nicholas Gronstrom, getting it slightly a bit ski whiff coming out the corner, but maintains it. Oh, a little bit of a bump up there, and that's what I'm sort of saying. Coming into that corner, it can be extremely tight as Alan tucked up behind Nicholas Gronstrom, but certainly looks like these two are going to be having a great battle out on track as we look further back from Paul Joseph Clist of that battle going on in the rookie class. But early stages in this race, a 2-hour race, as I said. Drivers can have as much fuel as they want, and yeah, it's down to the drivers what they do as the pro drivers are coming around to complete their first lap here in Road America. There's been no changes in the top 5 of the pros. The only real loser, I would imagine, at the moment is Michael Hooper, down 2 places from where he started in the race. But you can see there at the back as well, the Pro-Ams are extremely closely compact here at the end of this first lap. So as we've always seen before, these Pro-Am drivers are extremely tight.
It does look like we've had an incident actually with Iracing Mantis. He's dropped down 22 positions from his starting place in the pro category there. So that will be an interesting incident to look at. If we can find a replay of it, we'll bring that to you guys. So and here we go. So right, taking a look at Iracing Mantis right now. He's coming down what looks like towards Canada. Yeah, Canada corner. So he's gone on the inside there and trying to keep it to the edge. Obviously, this is opening couple of laps. It's going to be cold tyres, and he gets a little push there from the Porsche, sends him off onto the grass, and unfortunately, with that position on the track, he's not going to be able to rejoin very easily there. High speed, blind corner. He's just going to take it nice and steady, and doesn't look like any suspension damage. And with the 2-hour race we've got, hopefully he can work his way back at the pack. But gosh, an awful amount of work to do there for Iracing Mantis.
It certainly is, and it's such an easy mistake to make. And in this track, certainly on the opening couple of laps, if you do manage to spin your car off, you are going to be losing a lot of positions because the field is quite tightly. Oh, as I saw a car there going off the back, I think that is Sander Island.
Sander.
Yep, he's come off. Has he damaged his car there? I can't see any obvious damage. I think he just trying to get. Oh, I think he might have a bit of steering damage on there. Let's have a look on board if we can see any sort of damage. Getting back up to speed, so maybe just taking that slight little one off. Let's have a look, see if we can, if I can find the replay for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? Like you were saying, you know, in the beginning of these races, the field is so tightly compacted, and Road America has such big high-speed sections that you know, it's down 12 places. So as he's coming up there, just towards the hurry downs, he's working his way. He's keeping the inside edge of the apex. There, is he going to get a contact with? I believe is that Leaking McGee in front, possibly. Oh, and he gets a strong push from was that? Oh, I couldn't tell which colour it was. Sorry,
I think that was Christopher Otto, I think.
Was it Otto? Yeah, Otto.
Yes.
So, you know, awful little nudge there, but hopefully hasn't damaged his car too much, and Sander can pick up the pace and continue going. So the steering doesn't look too damaged, and you know, hopefully that's going to be all right for him.
Yeah, it definitely is. As we look at our leader at the moment, Thomas Wangen in first place. His teammate Neil Erik Isaacson. Again, these two are actually, and the teammate as well, Lars Sorensen. So the top three at the moment with the IGL Coating E-Racing by Sander Traffic Skull is certainly out front. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can do, and we can actually look on board from a very camera, and a very snazzy looking camera in the bottom right of Thomas Wangen of his setup and how he drives. I mean, triple screen, very looking comment. Is he actually got one hand on the steering wheel there? No, there it goes. I couldn't see his other hand.
Yeah, I was going to say it was his foot. It was hard to tell there for a split second. So, you know, running an awfully nice setup there with the full triple screens, a direct drive. You know, he's pretty much got the golden boy setup there, hasn't he? But you know, at the moment he is the golden boy out on track, running up front in you know, putting in some decent laps. So, you know, fastest lap of the race so far. Oh, sorry, the last lap, Niels Erik Isaacson was ever so slightly quicker, but you know, running at the very, very front of the grid and being able to put in lap after lap, like we've seen him do numerous times before in previous rounds. So you know, he's looking very strong at the moment. But to our race, anything can happen. Traffic is going to be a crucial thing in this round. So these guys are going to be catching up to the rookies and the AMs, and you know, maybe even potentially some of the pro-AMs towards the end of the race. So we'll have to keep an eye on it and see how things go.
Yeah, definitely will be. And you can see there a few more cars in this train. You see Scotty Mokes just on the end of this IGL Coatings train, still keeping with the top guys at the moment. So it's they're not getting all their own way here today. You've got Ketiel Larson of the IGL Coatings E-Racing other team by Kenzo there in 5th place. So it's extremely tight at the moment, a very tight affair, but it looks like Antonio maybe getting slightly a little bit off the back of the group here, the pros, maybe finding the pace a little bit too hard in these GT3 cars, very much used to the super fast F1 cars out on track. But it's always great when we have the top name drivers coming in of real life into the sim to have a go with the rest of them, and probably good kudos for the rest of the field saying I've beaten an F1 driver, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, if the guys hopefully can, you know, keep up with him, or if he doesn't spin out. So what we'll do is we'll pop the graphic up on screen here in a second, so you guys can see the cars, the drivers, the names, positions, and everything. So that will be populated up for you soon. And there we go, just like clockwork. So as we're watching Michael Hooper here, Team Bear Pope, you know, he's a very, very fast driver. Won his previous championship last season round, gained himself a nice bit of prizes. So he's looking strong as always, running up unfortunately towards the back end of the pros this time round, but absolutely deserved to be jumped up into that grid. So he's worked hard all last season, and you know, he's a wild card as well as Antonio Giovinazzi. So he's you know, he's always a good driver, and unfortunately he's you know, he's just about getting over his incident from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, where he spun on lap 1, turn 1.
It wasn't even lap 1, was it?
Wow. Yeah, it was
warm-up lap.
Yeah, he spun on the warm-up lap and had to wave the entire field goodbye. So, but yeah, stand-up guy is Michael Hooper. So really good to see him out on track every race and round after round. So good to see him out there.
Yeah, it definitely is, as we can sort of see there. As we got that extra class, because probably for Giovinazzi there, that's why we got a double wanging in the pro category there. But Thomas Wangen at the moment leading at the pros with King McGee in the pro-ams. Asavon is still managing to keep that am with first place up front. Alan Sondergaard has managed to get to the lead of the rookie class as we join him there from Dane Racing. Oh, as we join him, no.
Oh gosh. Curse of the commentator, you had to say it, didn't you? You had to bring it up. So I'm almost certain that would be some suspension damage there. He's taken an awfully hard hit on that BMW. So yeah, bringing it into the pits, doing the sensible thing, and not driving on any further at the moment. So the guys do get, I believe it is 2 fast repairs. So this won't hinder him too much. But unfortunately, anytime you got to go in the pits when you're not supposed to, it's going to run you down the field a bit.
Yeah, it certainly is. Commentator cursed there after I said he's done exceptionally well and seems to be having a really good fight with Nicholas Gronstrom there. But let's have see if I can find it. What happened? It looks like one of them classic ones coming up through the last couple of turns there, turn 13 and 13A. Probably giving it a little bit too much beans and getting it slightly pushed out of shape. But let's have a look to see if I can find where he here he is. Let's have a look at what happened. So let's have a look on board in his roll bar. So coming through Canada corner, nice and tight, does have that lead, and then here comes the issue. Does he hit the corner and puts him off? Let's have a look. No, it just goes out too wide, misses the apex going into the corner, gets onto the grass, and unfortunately as soon as you hit that grass, it basically spits you off into the wall like we've just seen. So unfortunate there for Alan after what seemed a very strong start to the beginning of this race.
Yeah, that corner is particularly treacherous. I think almost all of us that have raced around here on this platform have at some point gone near that grass or timed it slightly incorrectly and found yourself going over that crest, losing the grip, losing the rear end even with cold tyres. That'll be another thing to watch out for after the pit stops if they do take tyres. So it's going to be like we said in the beginning, Andy. Road America, it's one of those ones where you don't have the runoff room, you don't have that safety net that you normally would have at the bigger tracks like your Silverstone or some of the larger ones. So the guys are going to have to try and keep it clean here in order to get the positions up and make it the places that they need to get ahead in this race.
Yeah, it definitely is. But you can see there the huge train we got from P9 with Alexander Skrett all the way down to P22. So the pros, the pro-ams and the ams all very much locked in the battle. You can see the timing tower there exceptionally close together out on track. I mean, you can just see the big longer traffic. Currently 11 minutes in to a 2-hour race at the moment as we look at Tom Savage, our current leader in the AM class at the moment. Currently third out on track behind Simeon Moldeklev and leader Asavon in P17th at the moment, but all still relatively close together is the class. Same with pretty much but the pro-am field, the majority of them, apart from Lee King McGee at the moment, is having an exceptional race. Currently 5 seconds, just over about 5.3, nearly 6 seconds ahead of second place Alexander Skrett. So Lee King McGee having a great opening 12 minutes here at Road America, and you can sort of see the gap in the background. There it is. That is the gap. We just saw Alexander Skrett coming around the carousel there. So Lee King McGee having a nice open track to basically just put the lap times in. You can see he's got nobody really behind troubling him, and he's got plenty of track in front of him to just make sure he cuts his lines the way he wants to and doesn't feel under pressure by any drivers. And it's a really nice position to be in when you're in the lead of your class and you've got the free space to be able to put the lap times in. So the only person that's probably going to give you a mistake is yourself.
Yeah, just speaking of mistakes, I don't want to say it, but to bring some absolute heartache and tears to my dream, let alone the Olympus Esports guys, Scotty Mokes down 28 places. He's had an incident on the last lap there, so not too sure what's happened with that, but we'll try and see if we can run back a little bit further. So yeah, Scotty Mokes down 28 places. Matt Loveridge for Olympus Esports Redstone down 26 places. It's it's all going wrong at the moment for the Olympus Esports boys. So the only one running up near the front at the moment for Olympus Esports Redstone is Daniel Sedgley, so not running too far behind the front runners there. But as we ride on board now with Scotty Mokes, he is sticking right in the toe of the IGL Coatings driver there. as he's making his way down, which looks like the
Kink.
final, the kink, sorry, yeah. Oh, and he just loses the back end, and oh gosh, awful contact with the wall, yeah. Instant steering damage, and hopefully he doesn't collect the F1 driver going past there. So, you know, absolute nightmare for Scotty Mooks. Mr. Consistency. I think that's the first time I've seen him crash in, I think, ever. I don't think I've ever seen him lose it before and make a mistake like that. So, but obviously pushing hard to try and run up with the IGL Coatings guys up at the front there. So, awful day for Scott. You know, sitting currently now, 28 positions down from where he started. So, absolute nightmare. So, it looks like that corner at the kink is playing absolute havoc with the drivers today.
Yeah, and here we look at something that's happened to Sharon Asavon here, coming down into Canada corners. Oh, it looks like he got hit from behind there, and literally into the kitty litter. Our leader in the AM got literally rear-ended coming down into Canada corner and has lost a few places. Now he is currently in 5th in class, so that slight little incident there coming down into Canada corner, and with the cars being super close out on track, it's going to be pretty close. I mean, you can look in the background there of all the cars that are super close together. Let's join this battle here coming down into Canada corner. You got 5 cars there side by side there. Rudd just out on his own in P23, just watching the battle in front of him between Savage and Anderson, going 2 by 2 wide into Canada corner and coming through turns 13. Oh, gets pushed slightly out wide. That's Arias Yamantas trying to make his way back through after that earlier lap 1 incident. Oh, as it come into their final corner there, and it was looked like it might have been Arias Yamantas that spun there at the corner. We will get a replay of what happened there, but nearly caused carnage. Well, it did cause carnage.
Wow, it did, yeah. I mean, a few of the guys got an absolute lucky escape there to get through, so Atlee Roda's just, is basically just wiped his brow and taken a deep breath considering what had happened in front of there. Does look like he's had a bit of contact on that front right corner, so hopefully not put too much damage and too much incidence into his round here. But you know, Arias Yamantas pushing obviously incredibly hard in that Lamborghini, trying to make his way back up the field to run with the pros, you know, to get back into the fight. But got to watch out for all the other drivers around, and you know, the AM driver of Atlee Road has unfortunately taken a bit of contact there.
Yeah, definitely is. Let's have a look. We've got a couple of crashes looking at Sammy Hendricks here. let's have a look at what happened to him here. I think this is the incident coming up into the final corner. Dives down the inside, comes into contact, spins it out. Oh, there's the incident. Literally, Arias had nowhere to go. Sammy Hendrick was right across the track. Every other car trying to get onto the grass to avoid and miss him. And I think that'll be Sammy going into the pit lane as well as Arias. And Arias, as we saw him earlier, was very much a bystander in there. He literally could not do anything about that, and not had the best of starts as Arias in this first endurance race. Only 16 minutes, nearly 17 minutes into this 2-hour race, and currently being led by Mr. Consistency at the top, Thomas Wanger, with his teammates Neil Eric Isaacson in second, and then the third teammate of that team, Lance Sorensen, in third place at the moment. Daniel Seta is the only one, as you can see him sort of blinking there in the background, from the Olympus Esports Redstone team, is really the only one messing up a top 4 for the IGL Coatings team, really, and they're having another exceptional day. And I suppose it's super easy as well, Tom, isn't it, when you've got your teammates behind you? You know there's not going to be any deep like sort of lunges into corners. Everybody will be taking it easy. They're probably all on Discord talking to each other, just telling them where they're all going around the track, where's the fastest parts of the track, and really helping it out. And that's probably one of the benefits of having the teammates out on track with you at the same time. And at the moment, it just looks like an IGL Coatings procession.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see the amount of fuel saving that Niels Erik Isaacson and Lasse Sorensen are going to receive off the back of Thomas Wangen's car. As you were saying before, it's very, very nice to know that if you've got competent drivers around you, they're not going to punt you, they're not going to, you know, accidentally dive you into a corner. As long as they maintain that focus and the balance of the car, it's, you know, it's pretty plain sailing. But with the incidents that we've had so far, I can't see the IGL Coatings boys just having a clean run, a plain sail all the way through. This track is very blind. You know, there's a lot of blind corners, especially you know, the incident we saw on turn 14. it looks like you would have a good vision around there, but there is that wall on the inside where you cannot see what's going on. Yeah, let's just wait and see what happens. I don't think they're going to have plain sailing. That's all I'll say.
No, definitely not. And one person that's not going to have any plain sailing is James Logsdon. We can see him here. We can see him on his sim as well, with that very stupendous beard there and long hair. I mean, that is just awesome. But he's had an incident. A mighty beard from James there. But no, he's fallen down the order as well. He is currently down 25 positions. Sort of missed where he possibly had his incident, but I'll try and, if I can, track it down. But another one, and another big name really falling by the wayside in this race. Currently in P11th in that Pro-Am. So as long as they were in 4 laps of the leader, they will score points. You can see there, James hasn't gone into the pits to do the repairs. So obviously the car is in an okay state, but obviously came off somewhere pretty severe and damaged the back end of that Porsche. But you can see him cool, calm and collective, and pretty sure that amazing beard will probably catapult him up a few more places, but does have a lot of room to make up now to try and get on to the back end of his class.
Yeah, the American driver doing it the American way. He'll get knocked down, but he'll get back up. He's a really nice guy, James. We had a good chat with him a few weeks back, and really, really nice bloke. So I feel for him here. Unfortunately running 25 positions down from his starting position. So lucky for him, it's happened now. 20 minutes in, he can still claw his way back. There's going to be plenty of incidents, plenty of action. It's not going to be a race ender for him. A podium ender, well, potentially, but anything can happen on this track. So. As we've seen before, guys can run up front, but they can easily lose control and run down the back immediately. So, we'll have to keep an eye on James and see what he does. And I don't think he'll come in for the pit, but you never know. He might decide that the car's just not up to pace and bring it in as early as possible.
Yeah, definitely is. But try to keep it probably within his strategy to keep him on track from there. But like you said, we're only relatively early on, only 20 minutes into the race, and there's still a long way to go out on track. And like you said, anything can happen. We've seen so many other incidences occurring out on track, so it's going to be on. Let's have a look at one of our other guys with a camera. We got Simeon Mordeclev. He is our 16-year-old driver here. We had a chat with him in one of the pit stops, and I couldn't believe how old he was because of the way he drives. I mean, he's very an aggressive driver, very quick, very prone to them slight little mistakes. But we saw him in Canada having an exceptional round, and basically, he's probably one of my hot favourites to try and take that AM championship after running it so close last season in season 1.
Yeah, he switched from the McLaren, if I'm not mistaken. Correct,
yeah.
Yeah, he switched from the McLaren. So, he'd had a phenomenal showing in the McLaren at round 1. So, it's interesting to see that he has switched up to the BMW now. But obviously, after Watkins, he decided that the McLaren was a bit on the spicy side. It didn't have that balance that you need in the long, high-speed corners. So, switching to the BMW might have done very well for him going forward. So, he's a lovely guy. Like as you said, 16 years old. Speaks and acts definitely way above his age. He's a really decent guy and showing up every week to show what the guys he can do. So they'll have to watch out as he gets older and gets more experience. But the Red Bull fan that he is, he's going to be looking for our other F1 driver on track, I imagine, and see if he can put a bit of action on him. So yeah, good guy, Simeon, and we'll keep an eye on him and see how he gets on.
Yeah, definitely is, and a really nice guy as well. And he got some fantastic new wheel as well. He showed it in the Discord this week. I don't know what it was, but it certainly looked extremely fancy. So maybe that'll give you an extra couple of attempts. That's your trick, isn't it, Tom? Buy the best gear. Hopefully, it gives you a couple of extra attempts.
Oh, I don't know, mate. I haven't won a championship in a while. You wouldn't let me enter this one, so you never know, but.
Well, after your poor showing in season 1, mate, I had to drag you off the field, but to give you that little bit of a breather. Do you know what I mean? And then you can go at a later time.
No, I appreciate it because honestly, looking at the Pro-Am field, I would have had no chance this season. So, we've got Leaking McGee running obviously up at the front and doing very, very well. It's just fantastic racing by all the guys so far. So, speaking of our only female driver, we've got Sophia Ridgepath there running in the Lamborghini for Olympus Esports Redstone. I believe that is a brand new livery that they've just had made for the Lamborghini for her to use. So. Phenomenally fast driver in previous rounds, but sitting a little way down on the Pro-Am field at the moment. So, but yeah, exceptionally fast driver, and look, all these people are lovely. We have good chats with all these guys and girls, and they're really a nice bunch of folks. So, doing exceptionally well at the moment. Keeping it looks like Tom Savage at bay, but that Mercedes, there it goes. So in the slipstream of the Lamborghini, it's obviously got that massive V8 engine. Solid, good power heading down the long straights, but it doesn't have the brakes that the Lamborghini does. So just going to keep behind, keep it steady, and try and work his way by to, as you see, the Lamborghini almost getting a bit sideways there. A car that is very, very rotational on the brakes. It's, if you know how to handle it, it's very, very good. But the Mercedes is the, slow and steady. Well, I say slow, unless you're on a long straight track, but he'll, Tom Savage will just stick behind there, bide his time and see what he can do.
Yeah, as we have a look back in how our F1 driver is doing, Antonio Giovinazzi. Currently in no man's land. You can see him there, about 1.3 seconds adrift of Daniel Sedgley in 5th place, and has the Pro-Am leader, Leaking McGee, who's having an exceptional round at the moment, 1.7. So at the moment, able to just saunter around the Road America track, getting used to the Audi, because in the practice, he actually jumped into the Ferrari, so decided to make a late change there, and I imagine he hasn't got much of a setup going on as well, so probably got a baseline setup on that Audi car, so if that is the case, then he's doing exceptionally well for a baseline setup where everyone else will be having the rest, will have decent setups to feed their car. But looking further back, just behind him, Leaking McGee, what an exceptional round he is having at the moment. He is currently 8.3 seconds ahead of his second place in the Pro-Am, who is Kim Andre Borkland, who seems to be going through the field up 4 places, is Kim. But Leaking McGee up 4 places from where he started out on the grid, so an exceptional job. Got Michael Hooper just behind him there in the Team Bear Pope Porsche livery, which is probably one of my favourites out on track, and that's no bias to that team, but they do some fantastic liveries, and I think the one they've probably got for Japan is very special as well, so I'm expecting to bring that little gem out for when we go over. This is our last round in the world stop in America before we head over to Europe for next week's round at the Barcelona track, so that's going to be interesting as we move across to Europe. So we're going to say fond farewell tonight to America and say hello to Europe for our next 4 rounds before we go over to the Pacific for the final sort of 3 rounds of the championship. It's going to be super interesting. Really looking forward to the tracks we've actually got out on the season as well. We got Hockenheim coming up, which is always a favourite. Twin Ring Motegi. Yeah, there's a mouthful. One that's not always really used, but I actually like the track as well. I think it's exceptionally well. But the AKM Racing team going extremely well here tonight.
Yeah, the AKM Racing boys are putting in a fantastic show here today. Michael Goff as well. He's running up in 4th place, I believe, in Pro-Am. He's doing a fantastic job as well, sticking in that slipstream of Alexander Scrett in front of him, and just biding his time. He's obviously in a Discord chat, I imagine, with Leaking McGee, trying to learn from his lines, learn what's going on, and try and figure out how he can work his way up the field. But in an endurance round, he's doing the exact thing you want to do. He's having a little look there, putting a bit of pressure on, taking it steady, biding his time, saving some fuel, saving some on the tyres, and hopefully when he needs to start pushing further as we go into this race, he'll have the ability and the performance will be there in the car in order to make some places up. So we may even see him up on the podium come the end of this race, or we could even end up with a AKM 1-2. That would be fantastic for them. So, but as you said before, Leaking McGee 8.3 seconds ahead at the moment in 1st place, absolutely storming it in the Pro-Am.
Yeah, you can see this group, the timers that are doing. Russ Fowler, who's just behind Michael here in P12, obviously gaining on lap 9 and 10, then losing a bit on 11, gaining on 12, losing on 13. So this group of 3 drivers probably pushing each other a little bit too much rather than working together and trying to just extend the times out and using the slipstream to their advantage. Very much racing. So certainly this Pro-Am division is super competitive out on track, and therefore, you know, that's why the lap timings are yo-yoing, because they all want the position out on track, and they want to be able to say they are the best in that group. But this is the group there, as you're looking there, that's from 2nd down to 4th, with Kim Andre Borkland, Alexander Scorette, Michael Goff, who we're currently watching on screen, and Russ Fowler around about 1.7 seconds behind is our very own teammates. Moved from the Mercedes, decided to move away from the Mercedes and jump into the Audi. So probably still trying to get to grips with the Audi a little bit is Russ. One of our title sponsors from Green Future Technology is Russ, who's proudly sponsoring this season and this series. So as well as sponsoring it, he's racing in it and doing exceptionally well.
Yeah, most of us know Russ. You know, really nice guy. He's as you said before, you know, he sponsored the championship last season for season 1. Put up some exceptional prize money for some of the winners. So, you know, massive thank you to him for that, and you know, massive thanks to all of our sponsors. You know, without these guys, we couldn't put on the show and the broadcast that we do. And you know, obviously yourself, Andy, the amount of hours that go in behind the scenes that you put in, and you know, the hours that I put in. It's you know, we all come together to make this happen. So hopefully we can bring some fantastic racing going forward for the rest of season 2, and also looking ahead to season 3.
Definitely is, but you can see some here. Lance Sorensen there, battered car. Let's have a look at what happened to him. He was travelling in 3rd place. You can see here the string, or in fact the quad now, of the IGL Coatings team. And like you said, the fortunes of this track can easily bite back. Coming around the carousel here, getting the brakes on a little bit, obviously going a little bit hot into there. Oh no, going a little bit wide, trying to save it, and unfortunately, whoa. Wow, that, oh no, and then hits his teammate as well. Oh, no way. So that is 2 IGL coatings for the price of 1 there. And Lance Sorensen, unfortunately, takes off his teammate. So that is the top. That was 3rd and 4th, with Lance Sorensen, unfortunately, coming a bit of a cropper and then catching his teammate. So, yeah, that's all changed at the top. You've got now Thomas Wangen is in 1st place, still out front with his teammate Neil Eisen, 0.9 of a second behind him. Daniel Sedgley there in 3rd place, trying to track him down. Lost a little bit of the ground. 5.4 seconds is the gap between himself and Neil Eric Eisen in front. Antonio Giovinazzi, being extremely quiet, is currently up to P4, so just merrily going on his way. You can see Daniel Sedgley in front of him as well, so is doing exceptionally well. And I suppose it's the consistency of probably being a real-life driver really come into effect there, and gaining up to 4th place overall in the field, so doing an exceptional job. Michael Hooper has been a big gainer really as well. Just kept on his merry way, just following on from Lee King McGee, our top pro that's just pro-am that's just in front of him, is just steadily going up. That was a 2-for-1 on the last lap though, from the IGL Coatings guys, getting extremely well. I suppose that's what you were saying earlier though, Tom, was that they're driving that close and it's only going to take a mistake to shake it up, and that's exactly what we had.
Yeah, it was, I don't know if you call it the commentator's curse, because obviously it was a little bit later than when we were talking about them, but it's just one thing with these endurance races and running close with your fellow competitors or your fellow teammates. If there is an incident, there's no room at Road America. It's, you know, as you can see on screen at the moment, it is so tight there. If you have an incident, the car's spinning around on the track, you've got nowhere to go. It's, you know, it can be an absolute nightmare, but yeah, some big movers there in the top of the pro class, and it's really shaking things up going forward.
Yeah, we're watching David Gill here, currently in P13, trying to chase down Christian Otterholt, again of the IGL Coatings E-Racing by Sunday Traffic Skull, in P12 at the moment, so 0.5 of a second. So these 3, you got Casper Tungsten leading this group out at the moment. Christian Otterholt in P12. David Gill, I mean, he's had a mixed bag to the start of the season. You know, I remember racing in a championship with David back in the day when I actually sat in my sim rather than being on the other side of the mic. He was extremely quick, and he was obviously challenging you for I think it was the GT Trophy, wasn't it? The very first season, the GT Trophy, if I remember rightly. But he was an exceptionally quick driver, but not finding his speed in this league at the moment, is David. It's probably due to the fact that we've got some really strong Pro-Am drivers.
Yeah, the Pro-Am field this season round is, I mean, it's phenomenal. You know, the Lee King McGee, for example, he's mixing it up with the pros at the moment. He's putting in very, very fast lap times. You know, he's running I mean, he's done a 2:05.3. That's phenomenal. I think that is the fastest lap. That's one of the fastest laps of the entire race. So, you know, the Pro-Am field is incredibly spicy this season round, and I'm very grateful that I'm not running in it, because I wouldn't be running up at the front this time round. So, no, he's doing very well, David. He's putting in his time, and you know, consistency is key. The more that you run with these faster guys, the more you learn, the better you get. It's the beauty of league racing. You know, you put yourself up against the best, and you start to become better and better and better, until next thing you know, you're finding yourself in a higher class, and you're able to compete with these guys for the win.
Yeah, it definitely is. As we look back from Casper Tungsten, the leader in this group of 3 here, is he going to be able to keep that? Yes, he is at the moment. So he must have that Porsche set up for extremely low downforce wing to be able to fend off the BMW, which is probably a known car to be a lot quicker on acceleration than the Porsche. But as we said, the Porsche is exceptionally good on brakes and out of corners, so will be very good around this part of the track, as we watching Casper Tungsten there in P11. Not had the best of rounds as well. He was quite consistent last season, but had a few incidents out on track in the opening 3 rounds here in the Performance Link GT3 Cup Season 2. But doing an exceptional job, and he was in 5th place overall. It may all change around, and I'm expecting to see some big changes around in the timing in the point side for the next round, because quite a few of the drivers, in fact probably all of them, have had bad rounds, which has really paid to their scores. And as we see Casper there getting it slightly wrong coming out of Canada corner, gives the opportunity there to Christian Altholt to make an easy passing move up through 13B. Does manage to keep it. David Gill there under a little bit of pressure from Tom Savage, our top AM driver at the moment, after Alan had a bit of an incident earlier on. But yeah, it's interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what the point standings are after, because Sophie Ridgepath, like you said, our only female driver, came in round 2, so has got a completely dropped score. She's going to be up there as well, and she's doing exceptionally well further back in the Pro-Am field. So it's going to be interesting to see. Currently P10th in a Pro-Am field, but she has made a pit stop already on field. So the top 20 drivers haven't had a pit stop, and then from 21 down, you've probably got a lot of the drivers with the mistakes. We've got currently Scott Motes in 21st position, down 17 places from where he started, after we saw him have that uncharacteristic slight mistake there from Scott out there, but still out there just trying to pick away. And like you said, we're only 37 minutes into a 2-hour race, so still another hour and 23 minutes to go in this race, so still a mountain of time to be able to claw back a lot of places.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and if Scott can keep that consistency key like he normally does, he's going to just start picking his way through the field and working his way up. He's already gone up, I believe it is 11 places from where he'd fallen down to. So absolutely got the hammer down, fresh new car, nice and cleaned up, everything ready to roll. And Scotty's, he's putting in the laps and doing his best to get up there to compete for the championship. He's not a guy to take it lying down. He's going to hammer his way through and see what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously just the character of the guy. I remember last race in Le Mans, he literally just had to go around and drive around that track to win the pro standings. Had a shoulder operation the Monday before and literally drove around Le Mans for, I think it was an hour-long race. In fact, it was a 2-hour race, wasn't it? It was the endurance to drive around. So imagine driving around one-handed around Le Mans to try and win out the championship. So we know Scott has got a lot of fight in him. And we're still very early on in his championship, a 12-round championship, 2 drop scores. This is currently round number 4. So we're not even halfway through the season yet. So anything can still happen in there. But looking at the front, Thomas Wangen at the moment, he's starting to pull out a gap over his teammate Neil-Erik Isaacson in second place at 2.3 seconds. I mean, I'm just looking at the last lap time, was nearly a second faster than his teammate in second place. So really starting to put the hammer down is Thomas Wangen there in first place. His teammate still in second, and you can sort of see there the top 4 at the moment, all a couple of seconds between each of the positions, apart from Michael Hooper, who's right onto the back of Lee King McGee. But these are 2 different classes. We've got one Pro-Am and one Pro driver here, but it's where is Antonio? Where's Antonio gone? Let's have a look. Oh, he's down in P24th, but he has pitted. I don't think that was a mistake, so that may have been a scheduled pit stop for Antonio Giovinazzi there, our F1 driver.
Yeah, he looking at that, he potentially looked to have low fuel in the car to start this race. So, you know, and he may not have been familiar with the format here, or rushed to create a setup. And unfortunately, you know, normally in F1 you've got a pit crew to handle the fuel and all the other things. And you know, maybe he didn't click the right buttons to get the amount of fuel that he actually needed to progress and do at least sort of an hour racing. But keeping it nice and steady, nice and clean. You know, he's 16 positions down from where he started. But as you said, with that pit stop, you know, he's obviously run, what was that, 32 seconds he had in the pit. So not slow, not fast, but he's just keeping it nice and steady. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens when the front runners make their pit and see where he comes out. As we talk about pits, we've now got Michael Hooper just coming into the pit lane as well. So he's running currently 4th in the pro category, doing fantastically well considering he's been bumped up from the pro-am standing. So bringing it in now, is he going to take tyres? That is going to be one of the crucial things. So he's obviously done a lot of hard work, but he has done some fuel saving, being tucked up behind Lee King McGee, and he is taking tyres. So gonna have to take it nice and careful for the first couple of laps here, just to get things bedded in and warmed up again on that heavy fuel load and the fresh rubber. So taking it nice and steady, but looking forward to seeing where he comes out in this pro field.
Yeah, probably making a classic mistake there, just overshooting his pit stop, but luckily just quickly got it in reverse and got it back in time. But we do have an incident here from Sophia Ridgepath here earlier on. Our one and only female driver had a little bit of an incident. Let's have a look where that is. This is treacherous turn number 6 that I said. Coming up to it now. Does she clip the outside? Does she? Yes, loses that back end. It's that off camber. Luckily not hit by any of the cars, getting out of the racing line to enable the cars to get past and getting back out on track. Losing a couple of positions there, Sophia, but that classic mistake. It's one of them corners, like I said, that's not really talked about on Road America, but I think it's a very tricky corner.
I think it's probably one of the hardest corners on the entire track. It probably is, apart from maybe turn 1 early on in the race. So it's you know, it's coming up that hill. It's off camber. It's the car's going to go nice and light, especially as you're trying to brake down really, really hard. You've got to be very, very focused and conscious of the fact that the Lamborghini, it rotates a heck of a lot on the downshift. Sort of how the Mercedes used to be in the earlier seasons. You know, you used to be able to use that downshift to really get that car turned in. But if you're you know, if you're coming over that crest and you do hit a downshift early, as we saw with Sophia there, you can lose the back end and you find yourself parked in the apex. So very lucky not to end up with a massive amount of damage there and carry on going. So just you know, keep your head down, crack on, and hopefully she can work her way up the field and gain some positions back.
Definitely there, as we watched Daniel Sedgley, their teammate, come into the pits for his pit stop. Only 42 minutes into this race, I would have thought a lot of the drivers would have tried to get to that hour marker to do that one stop, but it looks like quite a few of the drivers are going to have to two-stop this race out on track. So really going for it, not really fuel saving as such. We've still got our top 15 drivers still owing us a pit stop, but below that a lot of the drivers have already pitted, so it's going to be interesting to see now who can go the one stop and who is going to have to do two stops. But if you've got an hour and 20 minutes, it's going to be a tall order to get an hour and 20 minutes out of one full tank of fuel.
Yeah, I don't think it will be possible. Even with fuel saving, or obviously with the open setup we have, the guys and girls do have the ability to change the fuel map settings that the car itself runs. It is an option that you do have in the GT3. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the guys do if they do have to have two pit stops. That's really going to mix the field up towards the towards the second half of this race. And the guys that are able to save the fuel and push it forward at the moment, they'll be doing phenomenally well, because they're not going to lose that additional time by having to make that pit stop. So looking at the weather there, the temperature at the moment 27 degrees C, track temp up at 28 degrees C. So it's actually got a little bit warmer. It must be cooking off the tires a bit more than we thought. And obviously with that air density and that humidity, it's it's a bit harder for the engines to push through that. That will be burning a bit more fuel. But yeah, very interesting. I wouldn't have called it that way, Andy. Definitely would not have called it looking like a two pit stop round for everybody.
No, definitely not. I would have thought the one would have been the way forward to limit the amount of time that you're in that pit lane. But, we haven't done extensive training on it or practice to be able to say that, or bits and pieces like that. So it's going to, obviously, what do we know? We're only commentators at the end of the day. But looking at the timing, just so you're aware, you can see the lights coming on the cars. It's actually 18:54 in sim time. At 19:30 it goes dark here, so the last half an hour of this race, just to add a little bit of spice into what has already been a very spicy race, is it's going to end up being dark, and around here there is no lighting around Road America, so it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers cope with that. But these lights on these cars are extremely bright, so I'd imagine that they will be okay going out there. I think a couple of the others, like Watkins Glen, we put them in dark, but most of the drivers done exceptionally well around there. But some cracking pictures here of the sun setting out in Road America. I think it's always good when you get the sunset and the gleaming off the cars. It just makes it a nice, spectacular sight.
Yeah, it really makes that damage model look fantastic. I didn't want to say it, but I had to. So one thing I did notice, actually, Andy, when you did have the track temperature and everything up, on the back half of the track, the wind was gusting up to 18 kilometers an hour. I'm wondering if that is something that is 16k there even. I wonder if that's something that the drivers haven't anticipated for the track this time of day or time of year, and that is that's a fair wind. Most tracks we go to, we're not seeing anything even close to that. So especially if that's a headwind on the back half of the track, the guys are really going to be feeling that on the fuel.
Yeah, definitely will be. It's a war of attrition, these endurance races. It's not all about flat-out speed. You got the sprint races where the people that are used to just putting in the fast laps, lap after lap. I think the endurance racing is more about being consistent, giving them consistent lap times every lap, being sort of almost like metronomical about the way that you go about doing your laps, trying to hit like constantly the 205s, 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 because there'll be people around you that do the 204s, maybe do the 206, getting a bit erratic. It's all about having that muscle memory, getting the same braking zones all the time, not, like you said, not cooking the tyres or trying to overheat the tyres to make them last as long as they possibly can do. I think a prime example of that was Patrick Thompson last season. If we go back that far, I think it was Fuji, wasn't it, where he won that race, didn't change his tyres. In fact, no, it wasn't Fuji, it was Interlagos, wasn't it? Everybody else around, and I think you were a culprit of this as well, is that you cooked your tyres and you literally had to come in for a tyre change on the last couple of laps, and that was with after changing the tyres. And then basically Patrick Thompson went that whole race without changing any of the tyres, and basically won it and was consistently keeping within that time frame of his best lap times. And I think that's one of the big things about endurance racing, is to be able to keep the momentum up, you know, not making silly mistakes, because endurance racing is all about being at that finishing line at the end, because so many things can happen. And we've already seen in this race, you know, some of the big names like Scott Mokes falling down by the wayside. You know, we've had the AM leader fall away a little bit, the pro-am leader fall away, and it's all sort of changing around really. And it's one of the things that's completely different mindset when you come to the endurance races. I mean, we've got a standard race of 1 hour and 10 minutes, which is semi sort of endurance, but getting into the 2 hour races now, that's when it becomes getting into the endurance session. That's where your different mindsets have to come in, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a 2 hour, it's you know, that's basically a proper double stint for anyone that does the endurance racing themselves. You know, all the people that run the Le Mans, Daytonas, the Spas, the Nürburgrings. A 2 hour race is, you know, it can be hard work as a solo driver, especially around somewhere like here. You don't have any room to make a mistake. It's not an easy track Road America. You know, I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it if I'm blue in the face. It is a tough track, especially driving for that 2 hour period. So another person that I had noticed actually a second ago, Andy, I believe it was, I've lost off the time tower now, last Sorensen, I believe, came in for a pit stop. Was it last? Sorry, I'm losing my time tower. Sorry, no, Matt Leveridge had come in for a pit early, so interesting to see another pro coming into the pits. You know, not running that full hour of the race. It's going to be. I think we're going to see a multiple amount of double pits, Andy.
I think we are. I think obviously trying to push it for that one pit stop, you would have to do some fuel saving. But the front two with Thomas Wenger and Neil-Eric Dyson, same with Lee King McGee, Kim, Andre Borkland, Michael Goff, Tom Savage, Casper Tungstead, Christian Otto, Simeon Modeklev, and of Shamapon Asavon, as we're watching him at the moment. Still drivers that have need to pit. We're currently about around about 10 minutes now away from the hour marker. So I think there is going to be some drivers that can actually do the one stop. But looking on the whole, with the amount of drivers that have pitted, we are certainly going to see multiple stops. But we do have a few incidents here. Let's have a look at David Gill. We were talking about him earlier on. Let's see what happened to David. Coming down here, down the Moraine sweep, coming down into turn number 5. Does he just overcook the corner? Let's have a look. Goes right. Oh, it's even before he got there. It literally, car just absolutely went away from him. Luckily, he didn't cause too much damage. That could have been a lot worse there for David, but that was a strange one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it'd be interesting if we can see it again, or possibly even in slow motion, because it looks like he potentially has hit the. Has he hit the dirt just before the actual braking marker itself? So yeah, it was very, very, very strange. Yeah, let's see if we can take another look here. So he's pushing down the long straight, obviously trying to get a bit of slipstream there. As he's coming along, he's now thinking, I'm going to position my car on the right hand side of the track. I know we see a lot of the pros and a lot of obviously the faster pro-am guys, they will run that far right hand side as much as possible to reduce the amount of turn and amount of corner you're actually going to take. So yeah, he pitches it just on the dirt, just previously to you know, just prior to actually going on to the asphalt itself. So as you said, Andy, very lucky there not to absolutely bin the car and end his race or anybody else's race. So just goes to show already, 51 minutes in, the guys are feeling a bit of pressure and potentially losing a little bit of focus.
Yeah, it definitely is. It was close not to capture that car. I didn't quite catch which one it was, but was close not to pick up another car coming through that corner. So you know, unfortunately, you know, and that's a real tricky corner, that turn number 5, because you really got to get over to the right-hand side to try and open up that almost 90-degree left-hand corner at turn number 5 to open it up and trying to get some speed on through that corner. But unfortunately there, Dave getting it slightly wrong coming through. But let's have a look. Looks like Torben Mele has had a bit of an incident in the flaming that's coming through turn 13B. Again, another culprit of getting onto the grass on the exit and just hitting the wall there. But always love the look of that Mako. It's just such a beautiful looking car, isn't it?
Oh god, that was close to Arias as well. Oh yeah, he did did a very brave thing there, just cutting across the track, but obviously timed it well on his relative. Absolutely ridiculous how close that was. But yeah, the McLaren, it's one of those cars that it likes to bite you at weird times. That mid-engine layout looks cool, spits fire, looks amazing at night time, but it just does not handle those high speed heavy load corners, and especially coming out of that section of Canada Corner. You know, you really do feel on 13A that you're becoming light as you go over that crest, and unfortunately it's just pushed him wide, clipped the grass, and you know, he's going to have to bring that into the pits, I think.
It's all about the line for 13A, and that we'll look on board with Patrick here as he's coming down into Canada Corner. So he's going to be our guinea pig going through the line. You know, if you watch the line, if you don't clip that inside curb going up through this corner here, coming up into 13B, if you don't clip that inside exactly like Patrick done there, you can see he took that perfectly, and then on the exit he went over the curb on the outside of the corner. Now we've seen a couple of the other drivers who basically cut or don't cut that curb on the into 13A, so take it in a little bit wider, still trying to keep the speed on, and then clipping their wheels on the grass. And that's exactly what we've just seen there with the McLaren, is that he probably didn't take the corner properly, and then basically clipped himself on out, try to maintain that speed going through that corner. And unfortunately, as soon as your wheel touched them grass, it's like an ice rink, and it spins you off. But as you can see at the top of the leaderboard, we have Thomas Wangen, who has come in for his pit stop. So that is underneath the hour mark. So it looks like Thomas Wangen might have to come in for a splash and dash again. So that gives us a brand new leader, Niels-Erik Isaacson, at the moment, who darts into the pit lane here for his pit stop. Is Lee King McGee going to follow suit? Let's have a look further back as he's coming around the last corner, coming up to the start. Yes, he's going to come in again. So it very much looks like the drivers can't get to that hour mark in Road America.
Yeah, I mean, I can only put it down to potentially that wind, Andy. You know, they're allowed to have an awfully full tank here, but yeah, very, very strange to not even see, you know, the likes of Thomas Wangen or Niels-Erik Isaacson, who was running in that slipstream the entire race so far, pretty much for the 50 minutes or so, not being able to push more than one additional lap. So it's you know, I don't think anyone's going to make it past this hour mark on one tank of fuel. If they could, I mean, they would be, you know, they'd be quids in. They really would. So interesting to see now that these guys are going to have to do the double pit stop, and towards the end of this race, it's going to be incredibly close what's going to happen. Pit strategy, pit timing, when you enter, when you exit, it's really going to make a big difference in this endurance round.
100%, and Kim Andre Bortland takes over the lead of this race, obviously going that extra lap. It'd be interesting to see when Kim can actually come in. Can he get to that hour marker? And is this going to be another one of Spa in season one, where we had a Pro-Am driver that wasn't really in the shout, but then all of a sudden, after the rounds of pit stops, found himself in the lead? Now, can Kim Andre Bortland do exactly the same here? So can he get to that magical hour marker to fill up his car, to then basically not have to pit again? Because as you can see there, he's currently 31 seconds ahead of Scott Mokes, who's climbed his way up into P2 at the moment, with Daniel Sedgley there in third. Both of them drivers have pitted, but will be on considerably less. So what lap did they actually pit? So they pitted on, I think it was lap 20. No, that's how many laps. Lap 20 was Daniel Sedgley. Lap 5 was Scotty Moke. So he will have to obviously come in again probably relatively soon, within the next 5 laps, I'd imagine, for his final pit. But if he can get above that hour marker, he will only have to stop her once more. Now, this could play into the hands of the guys who had sort of incidences earlier on, in the fact that everybody's having to do 2 stops anyway. So there's Kim Andre Bortland coming in a pit. 57 minutes. Oh, it's going to be tight whether he can do it. He's certainly going to have to do some fuel save if he doesn't want to pit again.
Yeah, it's you know, it's real. I just can't believe we're not seeing anyone push it past the hour mark. It's an absolutely crazy thing to happen. I mean, I don't think we've seen a single round in season 1 or so far in season 2 where nobody has managed to push it past the hour mark. So, as you said before, with the guys that have had any incidents early or mixed things up, and they've actually done a pit stop a bit out of sync, it might actually work out incredibly well in their favor. So you're going to have these other guys potentially trying to push it for that extra hour, do the fuel saving and try and squeeze it out to the end. But when you do that, you're more prone to make mistakes. It does hurt your lap times. And these other chaps that have, they put the fuel in earlier, and they are going to have a bit more in the tank to attack. They're going to start making their way up the field incredibly quickly. So I believe now that is everybody has pit. So
no, they haven't. They haven't. We're looking at Paul Joseph Clist, who is still yet to pit in this race. So he may be looking at the tactic to do the one stop here. Currently 58 minutes. So if he manages to go another lap, then that will push him over that hour marker. So Paul Joseph Clist, our only driver who still owes us a pit stop here, could he possibly do and get to the magical hour mark and then basically pit again? Currently, he is leading out that rookie.
And he's in.
He's in. So it's going to be close for him to be able to get to that marker, but no driver hitting the magical hour.
Yeah, it's incredibly. I'm just blown away. I'm a little bit speechless by that, to be honest. It's I can only put it down to the wind. That's the only thing I can think of that has really hindered these guys from running that additional distance that's needed. Are you able to please bring up the track information, Andy? That would be fantastic. I want to see if that wind is dying down at all, or if it's still up there. The wind has actually increased. We're now up to 19 kilometers an hour on the back half of the track there. So no one's going to make it that additional hour with even with fuel saving. It's going to be very, very tight for the guys to do that.
Definitely is. But let's have a look at where all the cars are spaced out on the track map. You can see there's quite a few of the drivers going through turns 7 and 8 there, with a big gaggle of cars there coming on, and then the rest of it is very much spread out across the track. We're currently watching Scott Mokes, who's leading out this race, 8.7 seconds, has pitted at lap number 5 with an incident we saw earlier on, so we'll be coming in soon. So probably at the moment, Daniel Sedgley, who's currently in P2, is probably going to be the one leading this race in about 4 or 5 laps time. Currently a 3.7 second lead over Thomas Wangen. Just having a look at the pit stop time. So Daniel's pit stop time was 28.17. Thomas Wangen, Neil Eric Isaacson ran 41.72. So it looks like Daniel hasn't taken any tyres at his round of pit stop. So that's really how he's been able to leapfrog Thomas Wangen and Neil Eric Isaacson, as well as Lad Sorensen, who's currently in P5 overall. Lance, again, didn't take tyres, it looks like, at 27 on there. But looking further down, Ketiel Larson, I'm not sure what happened to him. He had a 2-minute 11 pit stop, so maybe had to do something off rig to allow him to continue on racing. But a 2-minute 11 pit stop with 2 fast repairs, I can't believe he used them already.
Yeah, I can only imagine he must have had an incident of some kind that we haven't captured on camera. So yeah, very, very strange for him not to be extending it a little bit further. So as we're watching Christopher Otterhall at the moment, running currently P16 overall, starting to push his way up onto the back of F1 driver Antonio Giovinazzi, I believe it looks like. Or is
that's Russ Fowler.
No, I'm wrong. It's Russ Fowler. The only reason I didn't understand that was because Russ is normally running the Mercedes. He's normally the Mercedes through and through, but yeah, no, he's starting to learn that car actually, Russ. He's pushing it incredibly hard there, nearly clipping the dirt and the grass on the exit. But that Audi is it's a new beast for Russ. He's trying his best to figure it out, and the Mercedes got bopped a little bit hard, I believe, this season. So he's decided to switch it up and go for something a little bit German, the same as before. So we'll see how he gets on.
Definitely is. As we rejoin this battle for P2 in class. So these cars are locked together. Kim Andre Bortland, Alexander Scarrett and Michael Goff are locked in this battle. They've been there probably since about 10 minutes into this race, probably from the start of this race, to be fair. Literally glued. They haven't really changed positions that much, these three, but they are locked in a battle for P2 overall in that Pro-Am, because at the moment Lee King McGee currently just, wow, destroying the Pro-Am field at the moment. Is currently 10 seconds ahead of second place Kim Andre Borkland, is having an exceptional round. So probably seems to be the track that he probably was looking forward to the most, but certainly mixing up a little bit more with the pro drivers in front. We can see Antonio Giovinazzi just in front there, the Audi, so that is him, Tom. He's white and green, mate, for future reference.
Thank you.
That's all right, mate. Getting closely followed there by Michael Hooper. Let's have a look on board with Michael to see if he can make a passing move, and that'll probably be his claim to fame if he can do it. Not quite getting it done. Is he going to be able to make a move up to the treacherous turn number 6? Probably not advisable, really, Michael, but yeah, probably all the positions you want. I think it's just the kudos at the moment, saying I've passed Antonio Giovinazzi out on track, and yeah, having that as a sort of claim to fame. But Antonio is doing a great job. Obviously, just jumped in our wild card entry here today, so big thank you for him for giving up his time to come and join us here at Performance Link for a round Road America. Probably just jumped in the car, probably got a baseline set up on that car, and is doing exceptionally well, but under a lot of pressure at the moment from Michael Hooper in that Ford. In the Porsche. Sorry, I wish it was the Ford.
Yeah, Michael Hooper's looking particularly racy in the Porsche today. You know, he's really pushing the limits and the boundaries of the track itself, and he's really clipping those apex. Oh, as he's moving up to the inside now, heading through Canada corner. Is he going to run side by side? He's got to watch out for the exit here, and he thinks better of it and decides to tuck in. So yeah, even there, as you could see, no room actually on the outside to really get that move done. So you'd have to have the driver in front of you make a large mistake in order for you to get the overlap around there. Not a corner we normally see a lot of passes by with cars that are running at a competitive pace. So it's yeah, it was a close one there. I didn't know if he was going to go for it, but Michael thought better of it, decided to tuck in, stay in the slipstream, save a bit of fuel, and go for an attack next lap.
Definitely is. But while we watch this battle, a big thank you to our title sponsors. Performance Link, a supplies of hundreds of different automotive tuning brands, focusing predominantly on the Japanese market. They offer a wide range of upgrades such as suspension, engine components, braking and much more. They are also proud sponsors of multiple Mazda MX-5 race cars and specialise in the MX-5 Mach 3 for both fast road and track use. Contact them at sales@performancelink.direct for more information of how they can help you. And our very own Russ Fowler, like I said, Green Future Technology Consultancy Specialist, specialise in IT sustainability and help businesses transform the way they procure, operate and consume IT services. So whether you're an IT professional involved in IT procurement, work in sustainability, or just interested in what actions you can take to be more sustainable, they will be able to help. See their website at www.greenfuturetechs.com for more information. So big thank you to those two sponsors, and we'll have some more later on. I don't want to just reel off all the sponsors out on track, but we obviously joined back with Antonio Giovinazzi, currently P6 overall, under a lot of pressure at the moment from Michael Hooper. Lee King McGee just sat behind him, just enjoying the show in front of him, and probably in awe of an F1 driver on the same track as him.
Yeah, I was just thinking actually, Lee King is probably doing the exact thing he needs to do. He's just saving fuel. You know, he's staying enough of a distance behind that he's going to be getting some tow. He's not going to be doing anything too crazy. Just watch the battle in front. You know, keep up the pace and stay with these guys. And you know, he's really looking to secure his win in Pro-Am at the moment. So you know, fingers crossed for him. I really hope he does get it. So he's had a bit of a mixed bag, but always consistent, always running fairly quickly. But it looks like this could be his round tonight.
Yeah, we can see there, obviously, Michael Hooper, 26, 27, 28, closing that gap down, and only slightly losing a little bit to Antonio on lap 29 and 30, but lap 31 again gaining 2 tenths on him, and you can just see there the pressure. Great shot here from the blimpers overhead as they come down into turn number 3 here. Who's going to get the better exit? This is going to be the big opportunity here, but you can see the power of that Audi. Look at it just pull away from that Porsche there, coming down the moron sweep here into turn number 5. So where obviously Michael gets that gap down from the second half of the track, when the Audi can open its legs, so if you just start finish straight down the Moran sweep, can really open out that gap, which limits the amount of passing opportunity that Michael's going to have, and he has to try to get through this very tricky part of the track, and you know, he's going to have to put it all on the line to make that passing move, unless he can get a really good exit out on one of the straights, because the power of that Audi over the Porsche is completely different. As we look down the inside, he's looking on the inside, doesn't quite get it done, pushes Antonio slightly out, Antonio goes onto the grass, oh no, and they hit into each other. Oh no, and leaking McGee.
Oh, no,
oh.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely, that was probably going to happen. I think Michael was getting probably a little bit of frustration there in thing. Let's have a look, make sure Lee is driving his car and the car is okay. Let's have a look on board just to make sure that he's going in a straight line. But I suppose that was almost inevitable going to happen between Antonio and Michael there. Michael was really pushing Antonio quite hard. Antonio got slightly wrong coming out of the corner just before the carousel. And then, oh no, leaking, just coming off again down Canada corner. So he does have some damage.
Did he get a nudge there from Tom Savage?
I'm not sure, but we can have a look back. But, oh no, this is disastrous for Lee after such a commanding race. But that's the thing with endurance racing is, half the time it's probably not you making a mistake, you get caught up in another incident, but Lee's going to have to come into the pits here to get a pit stop, but he could fuel himself up and easily reach the end of this race, so this could be his last pit stop, so it's probably not all over. And you can see Antonio Giovinazzi there just coming up behind him as well. But yeah, that was an unfortunate incident. Let's have a look back to see if we can see what happened there.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because that's, you know, that is fairly uncharacteristic of Leaking McGee to make a mistake like that. So, yeah, very strange. Not this. This is the battle where the incident actually happened between Giovinazzi and Hooper.
Oh, just hits the wheel, doesn't it, and probably pushes that front right wheel off track there, but losing all the advantage that he had gained up until that point. It was around about 8 seconds there. We see Lee King come out of the pits from AKM Racing UK, so will be extremely gutted. Currently finds himself down in P9 in that Pro-Am field. It just shows how competitive it is. One slight incident in that Pro-Am field and you lose about 8 places in the course. But on the flip side, Lee shouldn't have to pit again, so the rest of the drivers will have to pit. He's currently probably around about 20 seconds off the back end of the Pro-Am field, so still has the opportunity to win this race, and he just needs to keep his head down, keep on churning out the fast lap times, and it will all come back to him. And if anything, he'll be certainly in with a fight at the end of this race with the rest of the Pro-Am field. But super close. We can sort of move up with them. We can look at them now. We've got Alexander Skrek, Kim Andre Borkland, Sophia Ridpath and Simeon Modeklev all in this group of Pro-Am drivers that are basically trying to get it. We've got Simeon there who's just mixing it up slightly. Let's have a drop in on him and see how look at him. He just looks like, yeah, just going out for a Sunday drive here.
I don't know. He did look a little bit stressed there, as he was. I thought he was going to mop his brow, you know, just to show how much pressure he was that he was actually under. So, but no, he's you know, doing his thing, holding it together like he normally does most rounds. So obviously finding a bit more balance and precision with the BMW this round.
Yeah, he certainly is. Currently P4 in this train, P2 in the AM category overall. I mean, Tom Savage at the moment. Where is the guy coming from? I mean, look at him. He's up there in P6 overall. An AM driver. His best lap time is a 2:05.4, which is pretty much on par with the top 3 pace. It's obviously the top 2 are Thomas Wangen and Neil Eric Isaacson are into the 2:04s. But, you know, to be a 2:05.4 as an AM driver is pretty much in the top half of the field when it comes to lap times.
Yeah, I mean, is that Mercedes the dark horse of this race? You know, is it starting to come alive now as the sunlight is fading and it's actually finding a bit of grip and a bit you know, a bit more life that it needed to find? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. You know, is he going to be able to keep maintaining this sort of pace and you know, work his way up further? Even, you never know. I mean, but as far as an AM driver goes, P6 overall, fantastic job so far.
Yeah, it definitely is. And as we see there, Daniel Sedgley's taken over the lead of this race, just in front of Thomas Wang, about 3 seconds, who we obviously on board with now. A couple of drivers in front of Thomas that he has to navigate around. Daniel's managed to get past them coming into into the start-finish straight. So Thomas should hopefully get them down the Moran sweep here. If he can get close enough, but you can still see him down there. I mean, that's a fantastic setup he's got there. He's got the mood lighting, he's got the free screens. I think he's got one above him for obviously the timing tower on him. And I mean, being one of these sim racers, it's a costly venture, isn't it? Even though it's not a lot cheaper than real life, it still can add up to a few shekels.
A few shekels. Oh, that's brilliant. I haven't heard that in a long time. Yeah, it does look like Thomas Wangen's got a few shekels to spare there. He's he's running an awfully spicy setup. Running the 4 screens as well. So he's probably got some kind of nuclear reactor actually running that setup as you do, Andy. I know you've got a nuclear reactor in your room there. So, but yeah, it's, as far as cost of sim racing goes. I try not to tell my wife too much about how much it costs, but as most of the guys do, I think. But I mean, I started off with with a G29 Logitech in a beanbag. First got into iRacing and was hooked. Worked my way all the way up to I've obviously now got myself a triple screen setup, direct drive wheel, Huskyville pedals. But it's it's been a process. It's a labour of love and it's a labour of the bank account, unfortunately. So. But if it's something you're into and you're dedicated, you don't mind spending the money on something that you find, as a big hobby and something that's really, really thrilling. So that's why you've got that ridiculous microphone, Andy, because obviously with all the comms you do, it's something you needed to have to make you sound as beautiful as you do.
Yes, I do sound very beautiful, don't I? You lucky viewers get TMI dulcet BBC Two radio voice for 2 hours. How lucky do you feel?
It's more like Radio 4, to be honest, mate. I didn't
Radio
say
4. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's harsh.
But yeah, just to bring back obviously to the YouTube chat. So John O'Cook was mentioning about the Giovinazzi incident earlier. He said, "No, Giovinazzi, no, that's so not right." So it's rubbing is racing, and unfortunately the rubbing turns into crashing sometimes. So also just to let anybody else watching know, please get yourself entered into our free competition to win a t-shirt. If you scroll up through the chat, you'll see how to enter. All you have to do is put !# the word raffle, and that will get you a entry for winning a free t-shirt.
That's gone up. I thought it was a mug we were giving away. So tell you what, you're Mr. Moneybags giving away free t-shirts all the time. I don't know. I haven't even got one. I haven't even got one yet.
That's a story. That's a story for another time. So, but as we're watching on board here with James Logston, obviously looking after that beard and caressing his mane, there, trying to keep nice and focused. So, but yeah, the American driver doing fantastically well so far. Just trying desperately to regain some positions and work his way up the field. But that car's now not looking as damaged as it was in the first half of the race. So. Hopefully he can put the laps in, keep working his way up, and gain some positions back for that unfortunate incident he had early on.
Yeah, he's not really making the progress I was expecting him to make. He's probably just resigned to the fact, you know what, this is going to have to be one of my drop rounds. But the problem is, with this being one of the drop scores, this is one of the big scoring. So you got 3 in this season, and you get more points for obviously the endurance round than you do for the normal one. So if this is one of your drop rounds, it could really hurt you in the grand scheme of things if this is going to be one of your drop scores. That's why you really need to make sure that you score quite well in this round, because you get them few extra points for winning. But James does have a decent sizable lead at the top of that Pro-Am standing, so it's probably not all race ending at the moment, but it's just good to see James still continuing on, because as long as you're within 4 laps of your class leader, you're still going to score points. So if you just park it up and say, I've had enough, I don't want to, as we can see, Matt Loveridge is there, he's +4, he's out at the moment. He won't score any points. But if you carried on and going, and that could be the difference when it comes to the end of the season, because if you've got drop scores of 0, then basically you're putting yourself under a lot more pressure to make sure you do well. So if you have another instance where you score 0 again, you know, that's almost your championship over in a nutshell if you've got 2 zeros and you pick up another non-scoring round. Whereas at the moment, James is still continuing on. You know, he's going to be 11 points difference to the first place, because first to second place is a 2 point, I think it was. Or, no, it's only 1 point. And then basically it goes further down in that. I think it's 2 in this one, the difference. But, you know, scoring them vital points come to the end of the season is what is going to make the difference between possibly winning the championship or losing it. So, you know, James is doing exactly the right thing and continuing on and making sure he finishes this race and scores whatever points will come his way.
Yeah, that's you know, as you said, that is the beauty of the endurance rounds, isn't it? You've got to keep going in order to get some points, so you don't fall behind. So, but I was just having a look at the leaders here. Daniel Sedgley, he's actually just run a faster lap time than Thomas Wangen. So he did a 2:05.4, and Thomas Wangen did a 2:05.6. So that I mean, very very close, obviously, but he is edging a gap ever so slightly further away from Thomas Wangen. So doing a fantastic job at the moment for the Olympus Redstone team. And you know, depending on what happens with these pit stops, Andy, with this double pit they're going to have to make in this endurance round, it's going to be anyone's race.
Yeah, it is. But we saw him have an excellent round and sort of really excels when it comes to the night race. And we saw it in Watkins Glen, had an exceptional round there, and literally, you know, put it to the IGL coating guys saying, you know, follow me if you can, sort of thing. And he's doing the same here at the moment. We'll be starting to go dark in round about 11 minutes time. If we have a look at the weather at the moment, let's have a look at it and just see what time it is. So it's round about 19:30 that it's going to start getting progressively darker. We've currently still got 40 minutes of this race, so certainly the last 10 if not 20 minutes of this race will be in the darkness, and that's what's going to be all the difference. But before we get into that, let's have a quick rundown of the classes for everybody so you know where all the drivers are. So we're currently watching Daniel Sedgley, currently P1 in the Pro category and P1 overall. Thomas Wangen, currently P2 in the Pro category, 3.4 seconds behind his teammate Neil Eric Isaacson, still managing to secure that third place, but dropping off slightly from Thomas Wangen, 5 seconds behind. And Lance Sorensen, after his early incident, has done exceptionally well to get himself back up to 4th place, 4 seconds behind his teammates. So 3 of the IGL Coated E-Racing Sunday by Traffic Skull are in the top 4 in that class. Looking further back then, we got Sophia Ridgepath, who's managed to lead out this Pro-Am field. You know, we saw it earlier on have an incident, but how fortunes can change in endurance racing. Currently finds herself in P1 in the Pro-Am field. Alexander Scaret is in P2, closely following Sophia, only 0.7 of a second back. And then you can see Kim Andre Borkland, 0.8 of a second behind Alexander Scaret, so extremely close at the top end of that Pro-Am field. Obviously we saw Lee King McGee, have his unfortunate incident with Antonio Giovinazzi and Michael Hooper that's really put pay to him, but I think that may come into a different bit of play when all the second round of pit stops come in. Michael Goff there in 4th in that Pro-Am category, but you can see the congested field at the moment out on track with that Pro-Am field. It's extremely close at the moment still at the top of that. In the Anfield, we've got Tom Savage, who's very much just ahead of that Sophia Ridgepath battle in P6 overall. He's had an exceptional race as Tom, currently leading out that Am field, and again will score some very much valuable points for himself and his team. Bear Pope 0 in this round. In second place, we've got Simeon Modeklev, who's around about 8.3 seconds off Tom Savage, second in the AMs. In third place, we've got Stefan Anderson, further back in P18th, up 9 places from where he started. A great day at the office for Stefan Anderson from Dane Racing at the moment. In P4, we have Gordon Haig, who's managed to keep there, and we'll see them fire licking Macca more often, certainly when it becomes dark as well. But a great looking car there, and currently 4th in the AM. Leading out the rookies, we got Nicholas Gronstrom in first place, about 3 places ahead of Ian Heatherby, who's around about 25 seconds behind Nicholas Gronstrom. So Nicholas has really put the pedal to the metal in the rookie class at the moment, and is doing an exceptional job being 25 seconds ahead of Ian. In third place, we've got Paul Joseph Clist. Possibility for Paul to be able to just get it home, depending if he's fuel saving. But I know Paul, he always likes to go for that 0 incident, so it'll be interesting to see if he's managed to get that. P4th in the rookie class is Sam Curran, who's our current leader in the rookie class overall. Is getting some valuable points here, still on the lead lap as well. And you can see there Tobin Mala is a lap down at the moment in P5 in the rookie class as well, so another macro overall. So there's a quick rundown of all the classes, but I want to go back to this battle for this Pro-Am at the moment. It is just insane. Michael Goff currently is in the 4th position of that. Does have Simeon Motorclef just in front of him. Ketil Larson there just dipping in. Russ Fowler dipping into the pit lane for their second and final stop on the hour and 23 marker. But look how closely all these Pro-Am cars are.
Yeah, the Pro-Am field at the moment is currently looking incredibly stacked. You know, Sophia Ridgepath leading the way at the moment for the Olympus Esports Redstone team, having that little bit of an incident earlier, going sort of just before the hurry downs on turn 6, where she ended up getting a bit too much rotation on the car. Managed to collect herself and settle and get things sorted, and now she's leading that way in the Pro-Am field. So not too far with distance-wise, really, as far as Alexander Scarrett behind. Or even Kim Andre Borkland, you know, they're still within striking distance, as we see a very deep dive from the BMW of, was that Simeon, I believe?
Simeon,
yeah, Simeon Modica there, just firing it in like an absolute gazelle. Oh, and we have a very loose moment there from Kim Andre as he's coming out of the exit here, heading towards the hurry downs. Just needs to sort of compose himself now, get back in the rhythm, and stop worrying about that gaggle of BMWs behind him that are putting on a lot of pressure. So he's just got to try and take it nice and steady and focus and keep the balance and not worry too much about those headlights behind him.
Yeah, Simeon, you won't believe, is the same teammate as Kim Andre Borkland, so nearly a close moment there coming down into turn 5. But it's been an excellent rear guarder to Michael Goff at the moment, trying to do everything to get past Simeon, to get up to Kim Andre Borkland, to get that final spot on the podium at the moment. So just trying to get past the AM driver. They don't have to move over for the faster or the higher classes, because if they're on the same pace, then they can keep the position that they're currently at. It's only if there's a significant speed difference that the slower or the AM driver would have to get out of the way of the Pro-Am driver if the opportunity came arise. But doing a great job at the moment. But there, look at that. Kim Andre Borkler getting it slightly wrong, and I think Michael Goff doing exactly the right thing. Probably realising, do you know what, let's try the undercut to see if I can get past these two Sim Racing Norway guys to be able to do it, because we're struggling to try and make the move past. But Kim Andre Borkland currently in that P3 in that extremely tight and competitive Pro-Am field at the moment. But be interesting to see at the end of the race what Michael Goff can do, and if he's able to undercut these two in the pit stops.
Yeah, the pit stops are going to be an absolute deciding factor of this race. You know, we're heading in now. We've got 34 minutes left of this round. It's I can't wait to see what's going to happen with the pits themselves. It's you know, we've had such a mix-up in the field of, in the early stages we've had some incidents and you know, some people pitting earlier than we definitely expected. I don't know what's going to happen, Andy. It's something that I you know, I'm constantly watching the timing board at the moment on my right hand screen to see when we're going to have these people pitting. It's really going to mix things up towards the second half of the race. So it's you know, I still think it could be anybody's race. I'm really hoping at the moment for Daniel Sedgley to bring the win home for the Olympus boys. Obviously, we have a mid-season endurance round special, which is being sponsored by Olympus. So big thanks to those guys, to Charles Bochel and obviously Thomas Cope for doing the doing the lap videos that we use on the stream. So that's that's going to be a really interesting round, and it's all going to be it's all going to be in the same car, which is really going to throw a spanner in the works for everybody going forward. So we're going to be using the almighty Cadillac.
Round Alton Park, that's going to be an interesting combination, but it's more of a fun, a mid-season fun race for the guys, and more details will come out to follow on that. And the team selections are going to be fun. Let's just leave it at that. But we'll find out more on the pit stops in due course, and who's going to make up the teams, because you don't choose your own teams, we choose your teams for you. So that's going to be certainly interesting. But we're currently watching Christopher Otterholt put in a bit of pressure for Casper Tungsten here for P10 overall, P4th and 5th in class. So Christian currently right behind Casper, and that's probably one of the things we haven't talked about, is that pit lane exit. You know, it can be absolutely treacherous when it comes out of Daniel Segler. You can see there currently leaving that P1 position there, down in P11th, but that is his last stop of the round. Yes, it is. He's currently had 2 pit stops there, so he will not be pitting again. So it's going to be interesting to see now. What was his pit stop time in? 23.48 seconds. It's going to be interesting to see how far Thomas and Niels Isaacson can go into this race. As we can see now, we're currently at 19:39. It's getting darker by the minute, so soon we're going to be in a complete night race, which I think is when Daniel comes into his own, really.
Sorry, yeah. As far as the night racing comes, you know, if we ride on board with, if we can go on board with Thomas here, for example, the amount of visibility, it severely drops off once you get into that. Once that sunrise, you know, dips off below that horizon, the corners start approaching you a lot quicker than you expect. You're really finding it more difficult to remember your braking markers and dealing with any vehicles behind you as well, because in your rear view mirror you've obviously got not just the car behind you, you've got continuous amounts of flashing lights battering you from side to side in your rear view. It's going to be incredibly hard for these guys to focus and keep it maintained to pull off the win that they really are going to need. And just to maintain that focus in general. It's a long race, an hour and a half in a car doing a solo is already getting towards what a lot of people find is a comfortable limit. 2 hours, that does put some pressure on you. So as we're now seeing Sophia Ridgepath in the pits, question is, tyres, Andy? Are we going to see tyres?
I don't think so. I think it's just a splash and dash fuel now. Probably already changed the tyres early on in the race, and there's probably no... Oh, I stand corrected. Yes, she is deciding to take tyres there. That's quite unusual. Half an hour to go in this race. But I suppose one of the advantages that the Lambo does have is the fact that they've got them exceptionally endurance light on the front. So from a lighting up point of view, it's going to be an advantage for her.
Yeah, it does have the ability of running the endurance light pack. So I'm not sure if there's many other cars that have the ability to run it. So not sure why the Lamborghini gets the ability to run the the Finland night stage rally lights there. So as she comes out in front of that Porsche, and oh my goodness, that was incredibly close. So the closing speed there of I believe that was David Gill, who now has he lost a position there potentially? It's oh goodness me, that was close.
I think he managed to gain a position over, but it was over a AM driver of Rudd there behind. But yeah, that was a super close one. But that's probably the thing about that pit exit, isn't it? You're literally right out onto turn number 1, and there's not a lot that you can do to do anything about it, certainly if you're coming out. So that's one of the things you've got to be aware of trying to make that move going down into the first corner is that ability to understand drivers coming out. But looking on board now, if we look at the gearbox here, looking back to Christian Otto, who's still all over the back of Casper Tungsten. He's doing an exceptional job making sure that he keeps that BMW behind him which is a tall order in the Porsche. You know, it's not renowned for its straight line speed, so is he going to be open to a passing move here now from Christian Otto? Let's have a look on board from Christian's point of view, coming up the start-finish straight into turn one. Casper going defensive on the inside line, then coming over to the left-hand side. Is Christian going to be able to do a dive down into the inside? But no, Casper covers it off quite nicely there, coming into turn number one to not give that inside line to Christopher coming down there. But he will have a second stab or a little bite of the cherry here down the Moran Slate if he can get a good exit out of here. But again, Casper will probably go on the defensive coming down this straight here. He certainly has that Porsche set up on a low downforce, because even with the slipstream and in the faster BMW car on a straight, the closing speed is not that significant there, and Christian not able to make a passing opportunity coming down into turn 5.
Yeah, it's incredibly close battling. I mean, Casper's doing a fantastic job of defending, but you know, Daniel Sedgley, he's a different class. Sorry, I got my cards mixed around there. Sorry. Casper is doing a fantastic job of defending against Otterholt there in the BMW. That's better if I get the cards the right way around. You know, if the BMW is sticking in the slipstream, it's going to have that power to continually press the Porsche. It's just the braking is the only place that the Porsche is going to be able to even potentially force itself in front, you know, get away from the BMW and manage to stay in front. So the BMW is an incredibly strong car. It's good everywhere. You know, there's not really any places that it's particularly bad. So you know, if he can keep it nice and steady, Christopher Otterholt really does have a chance here of jumping Casper sometime soon.
He is, but Casper's doing an exceptional job to hold him off. I think it's probably about 8 laps now that Christopher has tried to make the passing move on Casper and unable to do it. So Casper's getting the exits out of the corner, but this looks like a really good exit here from Christian. Right up now, tucked under the rear wing of that Porsche. You can see the closing speed now, so I think Casper doesn't have a lot left. Is he trying to squeeze him out wide? So this is going to be interesting now coming down to turn number one. They are side by side. Who is going to yield? Is this going to end in tears? Oh, Casper managing to get that inside line. That was a great bit of racing from the two drivers.
Yeah, what a fantastic move there by the Porsche, just squeezing the BMW off towards the exit there and managing to maintain that lead there into turn number one. So very, very risky move. It's an incredibly high speed corner. You know, it's not one that you particularly want to attack, because you're going to put yourself at you know, in the way to get attacked again down this back straight here, coming in towards turns 5 and 6. So fantastic move, and you know, fair play to him there for getting it done under such pressure.
This could be bad news here for Daniel. He's obviously trying to push on to try and make sure he tries to get back in front of Thomas Wanger, but these two battling in front is probably actually holding him up. I'm just having a look at his last lap time. It was a 2:05.62, so not a shabby time, only 0.3 of a second slower than his fastest lap. So these two guys in front are still keeping good pace as well as battling extremely hard, but Daniel probably wants to get past these two, and is probably a little bit nervous as well with the close call racing of these two in front of getting involved in an incident that he doesn't really want to be a part of. So probably needs to try and get past these two as much as he can, but he's going to find it exceptionally hard because these two are all over the road trying to defend from each other. So it's going to be a tall order for him to make the passing move on these two in front of him. But we'll see what Daniel can do, and it's going to be interesting again after the round of pit stop. But you know, we've got to give a special mention actually to Tom Savage. You know, currently P4th, an AM driver in P4. I don't think we've ever seen an AM driver that far up in the field. No,
definitely not. I mean, he's doing an absolutely fantastic job with you know, with what he's done this evening. I mean, he's had that Mercedes absolutely on fire. Been very lucky as well. You know, no real incidents, no collisions, no off tracks, no you know, nothing that is going to put any sort of hindrance on his race there. As we see the BMW in front of him overshooting the pit stop there. So it did look like he had taken tyres there, Tom Savage. So now he's coming out of the pit exit. He is going to be behind driver Anderson there. So Bit of work to do, but obviously he's going to now make it all the way to the end with no additional pit stop needed. Is he going to put in too much fuel? Is he going to balance the timing right? It's it's going to be really interesting to see how all of this gets mixed up towards the latter half of the round.
Definitely is, and Simeon Monaco didn't take any tyres there, so has closed the gap between himself and Tom Savage for that first place in the AM at the moment. So that could be a battle coming into the end of the race. Currently got about 23 minutes left of this 2-hour race. I mean, where has the time gone? It's just flown past, but with some excellent racing on track as well, and it's always good to see. I'm just looking down to see where our F1 driver is. Where is he? I'm just trying to have a look. Look down at the timing tower. He is currently out of the race. I think he's decided to call it a day there. Probably the incident earlier on, but Antonio Giovinazzi has decided to call it a day. Obviously our wildcard entry, and it's always great to have real life drivers come and join us on the track, but currently not able to finish this race, and big thanks for him for joining us here tonight in the Performance Link GT3 Cup. But Thomas Wangen at the front of the field at the moment, 4.5 seconds ahead of his teammate Neil Eric Isaacson in second place. Michael Hooper up to third at the moment, but pretty much the top 5 drivers still owe us a pit stop, and Daniel Sedgley has managed to get past Alexander Scaret and Christopher Otterholt, who have come in the pits at the same time. So let's have a look at this. Hopefully they're quite close together so we can see who comes out of the pit in front. Where is Alexander Scaret? Let's have a look. Where is he? There we go. There's the 2 drivers. Alex taking some tyres. So who's going to win the battle of the pit stop between these two? And it looks like it's Alexander Scaret has managed to get in front of Christian Otterholt. So again, it's going to be a nice tight affair between these two all the way to the checker flag, I think. But here's a car coming down into turn 1. I think that was Sophia there as well. So that is now for position. Sophia in P6, Alexander Scaret is in 5th, and Christopher Otterholt in P7. So Sophia has now joined the battle for the top of the Pro-Am standings. So it's going to be an interesting battle all the way in. But that Pro-Am field, Tom, has been super competitive all race.
Yeah, the Pro-Am field is, it's probably one of the hottest battles we really have on track at the moment. So, I mean, in the Pro field, obviously, we've got Thomas Wangen pulling away by 4 seconds or so there. Even though he did just run a slow lap, actually. So maybe some traffic or something along those lines. But yeah, no, Sophia Ridgepath's doing a fantastic job in the Pro-Am field. All of the Pro-Am field is just incredibly strong this season. So it's, it's literally anybody's race for every round. Because, with the amount of ability and the different tracks and the different techniques and different pit strategies and everything, it really does mix the field up, and people can really make a difference depending on what they do with their pit strategy. So we're taking a look here now at Scott Mokes of Olympus Esports. We really do feel for Scott. He had a horrendously bad horrendously bad little session here early on in the race, but he's at the moment he's 3 positions behind where he started, but considering he was 28 positions down from where he started, absolutely fantastic drive from Scotty here.
Yeah, definitely is, and scoring some valuable points. And obviously, is he going to collect another position here? Yes, he does. He manages to get up into P6, 15 seconds behind Daniel Sedgley. Obviously, Thomas Wangen and Neil Eric Isaacson do have to pit again, but to get up to P4 in that pro category, after you were saying the earlier incident that he had, that epitomizes probably what endurance racing is that you can have incidents, but just brush it off, get your car fixed, get back out on track, and let it all come to you. Because a lot of the drivers in here have had to stop. You just take one of your stops slightly a little bit earlier, and you can still keep within the realms of the pit stop. Having the 2 fast repairs really helps the drivers when it comes to not having to take the repairs, which makes the racing a lot better out on track, to be able to give them the fast repairs. Because You know, there's nothing worse than doing well, having one slight incident, and then waiting 15 minutes for your suspension to get fixed. But giving the fast repairs means they can make slight mistakes, get back out on track. And Scott is you know, he epitomises basically the endurance racer, and the fact that, again, you know, he's Mr. Consistent and being able to be in that top 4 to be able to score valuable points that keeps him within the championship.
Yeah, but I mean, we've said it lots of times before, haven't we? Scott Mokes, he's dedicated. You know, he wants to win. He wants to put the time in. He wants to work hard. He wants to make it as much as he can, as often as he can. And, you know, talking about his shoulder surgery, like you said, for example, I mean, he drove 2 hours at Le Mans with no force feedback on his wheel because I believe, was it his rotator cuff he had done?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, he had his rotator cuff done, but he still showed up for the final round and, you know, ended up winning some good prize money and clinching the championship. So, yeah, really, really nice guy, and I mean, he's dedicated to the cause, that's for sure. So, Olympus Esports are lucky to have him. You know, good that we let him go from Formula Link to go and join them. So,
yeah, definitely not bitter about it at all, are we, mate?
Not bitter at all. So, no, he, yeah, really nice guy, Scott. And, big congratulations to Olympus for being able to have Scotty join with them. So, big congrats to them. As we're watching, Torben Mele coming down now towards, it looks like turn number 5. Is that? Yep. We're going to see another onto the dirt. No, a little bit over the curb. Just runs a little bit wide there. Is it going to collect the? Oh my goodness! Yeah, just running a little bit deep on the brakes in the McLaren, and you know, as that light is fading, starting to push those braking markers a little bit deeper than you should, and potentially getting a bit tired now as well with the amount of racing that we've done. An hour and 43 minutes, you know, nearly 44 minutes. It's a lot of work for these drivers. It is tiring. It is, you know, it is incredibly hard to maintain these cars and keep the balance for this period of time. It's you know, it's only going to be the guys that run the long endurance races or the Iracing officials or, you know, any other league endurance series that are going to be used to this kind of pressure and maintaining this focus as not only the light fades away but as the time goes on.
Yeah, it definitely is. As we have a look back at Nicholas Gronstrom, who's had an exceptional race in the rookie class, currently our leader, to the tune of around about 21 seconds ahead of second place Paul Joseph Klist, who again is just Mr. Consistent. Is he going to be able to get all the way around in doing the one stop? Probably the only driver that is got the opportunity to do that. And if he does, he may actually leapfrog Nicholas Gronstrom, because it's around about I'll say round about a 20 odd second pit stop from start to finish. Certainly at this stage of the race, it'll only be a splash and dash if Nicholas has to come into the pits. He's probably one of the only drivers that still hasn't pitted in the top half of the grid. Currently in P22, up 14 positions from where he started in Nicholas, but Paul may have an opportunity here if he has managed his fuel well, saved that little bit to not have to do that pit stop. Then we could see Paul taking a very convincing win, and a very strategic win, should I say, at Road America. So only time will tell, and we've only got 15 minutes to find out if Paul is going to have to come in, but at the moment is doing a cracking job and giving him an opportunity to win that rookie class.
Yeah, I was just thinking, if we're able to ride on board with PJC a little bit later on, Andy, it'll be interesting to see if you know, if he is lifting and coasting, or I don't know if he's on chat with any of his Olympus teammates. Are they letting him know that he has the opportunity to do the leapfrog here? Is it something that the rookie driver has in his mind that is a potential, you know, it is a possibility? Obviously, when you're a newer driver, it's not necessarily something you're going to think about in these races. A lot of it is just sort of focusing on getting around and, you know, not having an accident. So if PJC is aware of the potential there to leapfrog and get himself a win here at the endurance race, I mean, that's going to massively jump him in the points, and you know, it's something that is definitely on the cards for him.
Definitely is. We join the battle here for P5 in the pro field. Lance Sorensen occupies that P5 spot just ahead of Michael, who we're riding on board with, who had that little incident earlier on with Giovinazzi coming out of turn number 7, I believe it was, or just coming up to turn number 7. No, in fact, it was turn number 8, my mistake. That really put pay to Lee King McGee as well. Lee's managed to get a little bit of recovery now, 2 seconds behind Michael Goff. We can see him there in P12, 4th in class, but really unfortunate to be in the position that he is at the moment. Just having a look, no, so Kim-Andre Borkland still owes us a pit stop. Casper Tungsten still owes us a pit stop. So there's still every opportunity for the AKM Racing UK team, which Michael Goff is in 3rd at the moment in that Pro-Am, and Lee King McGee is in 4th, to get a 1-2 here at Road America, because I'm just having a look how far they are behind. Around about 20 seconds behind Kim-Andre Borkland and 18 seconds behind Casper Tungsten. So there is an opportunity for the two AKM Racing UK guys to get a 1-2 here at Road America, which will be a great one, not only for the team, but also for the points in the separate classes. But currently watching Michael Hooper just putting a lot of pressure under Lance Sorensen here in the closing stages of this 2-hour race around Road America. We got the Porsche of Michael Hooper and the Mercedes there of Lance Sorensen to see who's going to come out on top. Oh no, as we have a spinning, that looks like, who was that? That was one of the Team Bear Pope drivers, I believe. Was that Jimmy Vark? No.
I'm not sure. Was it Jimmy? No.
Yes, it was. Let's have a look at what happened. Let's ride on board. So Jimmy here coming down. Obviously, that's
being kind, getting out 7. Of the way a little bit there.
Getting a little bit of a flash now, coming down this side corner. Just get a slight little tap. I think he just gets pushed out wide, but it's just one of his teammates as well. But obviously, his teammate is challenging for position. So unfortunately, Jimmy came off worse there. So pretty sure that no protest will be put in against one of his teammates.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one for for a teammate to protest the other. So he's probably having a good discussion in the Discord chat at the moment, saying cheers for that, mate, appreciate it. But as you said before, Michael Hooper up in that pro field, he's got to push incredibly hard in order for him to be able to get the positions he needs and show himself, show where he belongs in the pro field up there at the front of the grid. So unfortunate for his teammate, but Michael does have to push as hard as he possibly can to make it those places. So it's it's going to be interesting to see what happens towards the latter half of this race. So it does look like we now have a new race leader, Andy. So Niels Isaacson for the IGL Coatings team has now pulled in front of Thomas Wangen. So very interesting to see what's going to happen here. I believe we'll go back to Jimmy Vark. Has Jimmy had another incident here, Andy?
No, I think that was me just putting it back onto live there.
Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, I'm 2 hours commentating is a long time for us as well. So, watching the timing towers continuously and everything, it does melt your brain a little bit. So, but yeah, so change for the lead. Thomas Wangen now sitting in 2nd place, but it's still an IGL Coatings 1-2, and it's going to be interesting to see if these boys can pull it out as they desire.
Yeah, definitely is. Neil Eric Tyson just went an extra lap there over Thomas in the position, but I'm pretty sure Thomas will probably get the position back here as he's probably lost a little bit of time there. So it could be quite close between the two teammates here coming out of the pits as we watch Thomas Wangen coming up the start-finish. Neil Eric Tyson still in his pit box, as we can see there. He's now going to the pit exit, so this is going to be extremely close between the two teammates. Who's going to come out on top? Where is Niels? He has just in front there, he has managed to leapfrog his teammate to the tune of 1.5 seconds. So the difference in pit stop 10.1 second for Niels and 13.23 for Thomas. So Thomas, an extra 3 seconds in the pit box to his teammate of Neil Eriksson. There is 1 point between the two drivers in the championship. One win apiece so far in the season. So who is going to take the top honours? We've only got 9 minutes left of this 2-hour race to go. Who is going to win this out of the two teammates? You can see Daniel there 10 seconds behind at the moment, so probably going to be consigned to the third place, but still a great race for Daniel in the Olympus Esport team there. Scott Mokes in fourth in that pro field. Great recovery from him. Just slightly ahead, 1 second ahead of the battle between Lars Sorensen and Michael Hooper. I mean, if we look back, there is Michael just behind, just closes the gap. Wow, that was nearly inside the back end of that Mercedes. So this is getting extremely spicy, as you would say, battle from there, you know. But looking,
sorry, I was going to say that's the definition of closing the gap, isn't it? I mean, where you're in the back of the other car, that you know, you can't close the gap any more than that, can you? So it's yeah, phenomenal racing from these guys. And yes, sorry to cut you across there, Andy. I just
that's right.
I was flabbergasted by that there. So yeah, crazy battling.
Flabbergasted. And Kim Andre Borkland here, is he going to be able to do a one stop? Currently have 8 minutes left. He still has only pitted once. It'd be a tall order if the Sim Racing Norway driver can make it to the end of this race on his current fuel strategy, but only time will tell. I mean, he's tucked up behind a driver. He can obviously get a lot of fuel saving from that BMW in front of Daniel's car. So is he able to do that fuel saving? And has he got that mindset now? I'm pretty sure they are all on the same Discord. So somebody may be spotting for Kim Andre Bortland, but this will be a great victory for him. His first one of the season, if he is able to do that. But I sort of feel for Lee King McGee. I think he wholeheartedly deserves to win that Pro-Am field. Obviously, an unfortunate mistake. You can see his teammate just in front of him, and Michael. But an unfortunate mistake that was not of his doing has really put pay to the fact that he could be third. But third is no great shakes to be sniffed at either. Third overall in a Pro-Am should be good for the team as well, getting a second and a third. So it's going to be a bittersweet moment, I think, for Lee out on top. But it can still all come to him. It all depends on whether Kim Andre Borkland does take a pit stop or he's able to eke out his fuel to the end of the race. It's going to be extremely close, so it might be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Tom Savage in the Anfield pretty much has tore that up. Team Bear Pope 0, so some great points for them. We saw them, they were in, I think it was 4th place overall in the team standings. So if you're not sure how the team standings work, it's not based on overall finishing positions out on the field. It's based on the top 2 scoring finishers in class. So at the moment you can see Tom here is winning the AM race, so he would be one of the scorers in that team of up to the maximum of 4 drivers, so he would get maximum points being first in the AMCAS. Then if we look down and see where is another team, Bear Pope, there we got Patrick. So Patrick is currently in P8 at the moment in the Anfield, so I'm not sure if there's any other
change for the lead, Andy.
Ooh, yes.
Change for the lead. Yeah, so we've now got Thomas Wangen has just pulled in front of Niels-Erik Isaacson. I don't know if that was team orders potentially to allow the pass, but they did almost identical lap times on the previous lap there. So is it team orders, do you think? Do they want Thomas Wangen to get the additional points in order for him to move ahead in that championship, or was it based on ability? So we'll have a little look here. Yeah, let's have a little look here. So currently running side by side. Does Niels dab the brakes a little bit to let Thomas by? So Thomas is not. Well, Thomas has got the optimal line in theory. It looks like. Well, Niels didn't want to give it up, did he? He definitely wasn't interested in giving it up. What? Well, no, yeah, no team orders there. That is for absolute certain. There's no question about that. So Thomas Wangan he wants it. He absolutely wants it, and willing to run his teammate in the dirt a little bit there just to get it. So I mean, that's well, fair enough. I mean, if that's how they do it in Norway, that's how they do it. So fair enough.
Certainly.
It's fantastic to see that kind of battling even between teammates with only minutes left in this race.
Yeah, let's have a look, see if we can see the lap times between these two guys. See what happened. No, we can't see that. It's not coming up and showing, but no, it's gonna. It is, and it's good to see that the team orders are probably non-existent in that team to be able to give them competitive races out on track. So it's going to be interesting overall. But that was the passing move there. So let's have a look at the lap times and see what happened there. I really know what happened in lap 53, plus 27. Oh, that must have been the pit stop timings, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that was the pit. Yeah.
So
it was. Yeah.
Looks like lap 55 was Wangan was half a second faster than Isaacson, which was the telling marker of that. But it looks like we've had an incident. So we were watching previous Lance Sorensen and Michael Hooper having an extremely close battle, and it looks like it's come to sort of blows. So let's have a look and see what happens here. I think this is coming down to Canada corner. Yes, it is. No, it's not. This is turn number 5. What's happened here? Oh, just into the back.
Oh, heavy contact.
Michael's.
Oh, he's doing the 3-point turn.
Oh, no.
Stuck in reverse. No, he's got it going again. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, bad day there for Lass.
It definitely is, but I think it may have been... He may give the position up there come the end of the race. I'm just having a look. So Lance Sorensen is in 5th. Yeah, so Michael has given that position back, I believe, to Lance Sorensen. Unless Michael's had another crash. I don't...
Could we take with Michael Goff, please, Andy, if you don't mind?
I can.
Running right now, it looks like he's battling for the lead coming into the closing stages here. The AKM Racing. Yeah, he's managed to work his way up. He's only running 0.3 behind the driver in front of Kim-Andre Borkland. And I mean, we're coming into the final minute here. I don't know. Are we white flag? I don't believe we are yet.
I don't think we are, but it's yeah. So Kim-Andre Borkland has come into the pits, done a splash and dash, got out just in front of him. So it's game on for that P1 position in the Pro Am field. But where are the leaders?
It's depending on where the leaders are, depending on whether or not we'll have an additional lap or not. So, but looking at that Pro-Am field, we were talking about it being a bit spicy. We've got Kim-Andre Borkland, Michael Goff, and Lee King McGee, all of them close now for fighting for that lead. So all within 0.6 of a second. It's really heating up in the Pro-Am battle there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think this possibly is the final lap of the race, so it's all going to be down to this last one. We're just right on board with Thomas here for what would possibly be the last lap. We're just obviously going on, see how he's getting on in his sim as well. Very much light sim there, very relaxed in his cap there, probably chatting to his teammates. I wonder if Niels has had a little word with him for the probably the unorthodox team move going into turn number 1, but he's still extremely close is Niels, as you can see there, just looking forward onto Thomas's car. But it does look like this could possibly be the final lap. It's a pity you can't really see if it is, isn't it? On that, but without seeing the white flag being flown at the start finish, and being quite dark is probably quite hard.
Yeah, normally we'd see Barney waving the flag like a lunatic, but nothing unfortunately for this. But looking at the time remaining, I would like to think this is the last lap. So But yeah, incredibly close battle at the moment between even between the pros, and it does look like, unless Niels gets him on the run here, and he is taking a slightly shallower line. And he's pushed it a bit too hard. So
Yeah.
it looks like it is going to be the win in the endurance race at Road America for Thomas Wangen for the IGL coatings. In second is Niels Erik Isaacson. So final battle here now, as we're looking at Michael Goff and Kim Andre Borkland. Not going to be close enough, I don't think. It's going to be a close one, Andy. It's going to be close.
It certainly is. 0.6 of a second behind Kim. Kim's just tucked up behind Lance Sorensen there to get the slipstream off him, so able to get the poles. I just don't think there's going to be the opportunity as they come around Canada corner here. And that could be a bit of team playing there as Kim goes past Lance Sorensen, even though they are different team members. And I think that is going to give Kim Andre Borkland the race win in that very super competitive Pro-Am field, as we see Lance Sorensen going into the pit lane. I'm not sure why he's doing that, but a great second and third for Michael Goff. Lee King McGee probably feeling a little bit disheartened, but certainly shouldn't do, because that was a great race from Lee. Certainly had the pace there, got caught up in a slight incident that wasn't of his doing, and basically, unfortunately, still managed to get P3. Looking further back, Tom Savage getting that AM win overall. And if we look further back, I think we'll probably see that, yes, Nicholas Gronstorm did take the win in the rookie field as well. So yeah, some great racing in this 2-hour event, and I think it's been a great success, mate.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I did keep an eye actually on the battle that was on between Nicholas Gronstrom and Paul Joseph Clist, but we did find that Nicholas Gronstrom, he did a splash and dash of only 9.5 seconds. 9.5. I mean, that's phenomenal. And PJC did gain a place or two on him, but it wasn't enough, unfortunately, to get close enough to fight for that win. But second place, nothing wrong with second place. PJC should be incredibly proud for that performance. So nice and clean, and no incidents for him. So absolutely fantastic job there by everybody on the track.
Yeah, unfortunately, he had to come in for his second stop, did PJC. So unfortunately, it was where we were on that. So let's have a look to see if we can give you the results, probably still. And race results. What's that? We won it overall. Please, not by class. Let's try again.
What I will do is, Andy, while you are taking a quick peek at that to get that sorted, I will do the prize draw to see who has won a free t-shirt. So I'm going to flip over to my dashboard now. I'm going to close the entries for the round. Entries are closed. Okay, I'm about to pick a winner. 14 people have entered, and the winner is going to be, oh my god, Dean Mokes. Dean Mokes, you are the winner. You are the winner, Dean. Congratulations, mate. And follow the link that you'll receive. Get yourself that t-shirt sent to you, and hope to see you wearing it out and about. So massive congratulations there to Dean, and we'll jump back to you, Andy, now and see if we can get an eye on the finishing results.
Yeah, let's see if we can get the results up. Hide. Overall, let's show the results. Here we go. Let's see if this is going to come up. Yeah, and here we go. Here are the results for the first endurance 2-hour race here on the Performance Link GT3 Cup. Our winner, Thomas Wangen, very closely followed by Neil Erik Isaacson from the IGL Coating E-Racing by Sander Traffic Skull team. Daniel Sedgley comes home third for Olympus Esports Redstones, and Scott Mokes comes up a very valuable fourth place for him for the Olympus Esports RA team. Kim Andre Borkland wins out in that very competitive Pro-Am field in P5 overall. Michael Goff from AKM Racing and Lee King McGee from AKM Racing come home second and third, sixth and seventh in class. Tom Savage done a great race there, P8th overall, and winning the AM category in P8. P9th, Casper Tungsten, fourth in the Pro-Am class. Christopher Otterholt in P10 with Alexander Scret in P11th. Michael Hooper in P12, Ketiel Larson in P13th. P14th and second in class, Simeon Moldclef, so some very valuable points for him. And our AM pole sitter Shamapon Arsavon in P15th, Stefan Anderson in P17th, Sand Island in P17th with Lars Sorensen in P18th. In P19th, Gordon Haig, Russ Fowler in P20th, David Gill in 21st, Stefan Albanese in 22nd, Mad Sayer in 23rd, James Logston in 24th. Probably a day at the office for him to forget. P10 overall in class, but still some very valuable points. Nicholas Gronson winning out the Anfield in P25th, Patrick Wild in 26th, Jimmy Vark 27th, and Alte Rudd in 28th. In 29th, we've got Paul Joseph Kliss second in the rookie class. Sam Curran, our leader before today's event in the rookie class, coming home in third overall in P30th. In Hennebury in 31st and 32nd, Torben Melee in 33rd. Sophie Ridgepath 6 laps down, so unfortunately these drivers won't score any points here today. Alan Sandergaard, Arias Yamantas, Antonio Giovinazzi, Mike Loveridge and Michael Cody. And then following down the back enders who pretty much didn't do a lot of laps. Sammy Hendricks, Paul Ward and Stephen Pierce. But yeah, that's overall where we were for the results. So some excellent racing out on track, and Thomas Wangen looks especially chilled out in his rig now. I'm just wondering if we have him for a interview. Let's have a look. We do. He is
currently sitting in the interview waiting room.
Okay, let's bring him in. Thomas, welcome to the commentary booth, mate. We have your webcam on, so you can give us all a wave if you want. There we go. That was a hard-fought race for you, mate, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I don't know what's happening. I thought I secured the position to Nils Erik, and I don't know why he just earned 6 seconds on me on the pit stop. So I don't know what. We do the same thing, so I don't know.
Definitely was. But take us through that race, because again, the IGO Coatings team seemed to lock out that front row in the qualifying, and yeah, you just basically took it from there. Daniel had a little bit of a late charge on you guys, but did you really feel the pressure, or is it between you two guys at the front?
Me and Nils Erik, I have full control on the grid when I just entered the race. So when Daniel pitted early, he pitted 5 laps before me. So I knew he needed to pit and put in more fuel. And we show we can have the same pace with the maximum of fuel. So we try to manage the gap between 3 and 4 seconds. So yeah, that was the strategy. Sometimes was 2, sometimes was 5, but yeah, we managed the gap. So we know we want to take him on the pit stop strategy. So
definitely is. I mean, obviously, just looking back at the first 4 rounds that you guys have done, you've certainly been on point as a team, you know, doing it. And between yourself and Niels, it seems to be like a really big battle between you out on track. Are you envisioning it's going to be like that for the rest of the season?
I hope so. I hope so. That's very funny racing and a good television as well. One day, one of us had a bad race, maybe. It need to come. We can't drive the whole championship without any mistakes or being in touch in each other. So yeah, but so far so good. What can we say? We score maximum of points we can do in our championship of teams and the driver standing. So looking good so far.
Yeah, you certainly are on track. What was the main differences then from basically going from an hour and 10 minutes to these 2-hour endurance races? Did you have to really change a lot, or was it basically just a little bit more, but a little bit more fun on track?
It's a little bit more difficult, exhausting to drive 2 hours since it's gonna be dark at the end as well. My wrist is a little bit hurting, but that's my high Newton meter on the PD. So, but it's no problem. We're used to doing 24 and 12 hours a race, so it's no problem. Just need to focus for 2 hours. I struggle a little with the focus. So, thanks to the team for keeping me cool down.
I suppose it makes a big difference when you're fighting for the race win overall, isn't it?
Yeah, and I say sorry to Nils Erik for just sending it on the outside. I just need to take the risk to pass him for the lead. So yeah, hope that was a good TV.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I think that's going to be Andy's next question.
yeah, obviously we were looking at that on track, and basically we was wondering how you managed to get past him, and we looked at the replay of the pass, and there certainly was no team orders into that probably an unorthodox move into turn one, was there?
No. And we don't use team orders as well. So in the start of the race, we tried to make a train with Lasse or Kjetil and Daniel, but we tried to get rid of Daniel. So, but a couple of guys doing some mistakes. So me and Nils Erik can get away. So no team orders. I knew Nils Erik had a little bit less wing than me, so he had the straight speed and I have corner speed. So I just take that to my advantage.
Yeah, it definitely was, and no, another great race from you. It seems to be tit for tat with who's going to win. Obviously, Niels ran last time out in Road Atlanta. You won today, so certainly keeping it within the team, aren't you?
Yeah, we try to make each other better. We practice a lot. Not Nils Erik though. He just have a couple of 20 laps or something before this race, so he's fast just sitting on the sofa and watch football.
Very much true. But congratulations from your race win. And would you like to say hello or thank you to anyone?
Of course, thank you to you guys. Make this happen. It's so fun. IGL Coatings, Sande Trafikkskole, and Elveri. And of course, Birger as well to make things pretty on my rig. It's 3D printing. So, yep. Congrats and thank you to the whole field for a good race.
Yeah, it definitely was. Thank you for joining us, Thomas, and congratulations on your second win of the season, mate.
Thank you.
There was Thomas there. Let's bring in Kim Andre Bortland after a very hot and tightly contested Pro-Am field. So over to you, Tom.
Hello, Kim. How are we? How did you find that race this evening?
It was actually pretty good, I think.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, we were mentioning actually that the Pro-Am field this season, especially in the Performance Link Cup, is incredibly tight. You know, the battling and just the ability of the Pro-Am field that we've seen so far has just been very, very strong. I mean, a fantastic result for you today. How did you find the competition out there?
It was super competitive, and I wasn't sure until I came out of the pit if I had the lead or not. But yeah, it was really tight.
Yeah, we did catch a bit of it on stream actually, and you know, the pit stop strategy seemed to be one of those things this evening that really was it was going to make it anybody's race. You know, we were blown away by the fact that so many people were having to do a double pit stop, and it wasn't people weren't able to get past that 1 hour mark. Was that something that you knew before this round, or was it something that you've only found out during the race, or how did you manage your pit strategies?
I had done some calculations and I knew how much I had to save to do just one pit stop, but I kind of forgot the whole outlap behind safety car at the start. So
Right. Right. Yeah. No, fair enough. But yeah, it's you know, we were just saying it's at this track today. There was a very, very large amount of wind on the track. You know, it was really, really gusting on the back half of the circuit, and we were seeing a lot of people. I think almost every no, we didn't have a single driver make it past 1 hour today on the pit stop strategy. So that was something that definitely took effect. How did you find the BMW around this track this evening?
I struggled a bit in the slow corners, and it's not as good as the Mercedes out of the slow corners. But since the top guys in Pro-Am all are driving the BMW, it's fine, I think. So
Yeah, it seems to be one of those cars that has it has everything really. It's not the master of one, but it's sort of the good car of all, if that makes sense. So no, it's it seemed to be a very good runner here around Road America. So did you struggle with the distance of the race tonight? Normally we have the obviously the shorter distance, and today was that 2-hour endurance. Did you find yourself getting tired or missing braking markers, or how did you find that going into the night as well?
the race itself was okay, but I have been up since the F2 race today, so I'm pretty tired now.
Oh, wow. Well, okay, you deserve an award for being able to make it all the way around without too much incidents. So, but yeah, you know, massive congratulations on your place today. And you know, before we let you go, is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course, my teammates. Without them, this would be very boring. So, a big shout out to my teammates.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us in the booth, and massive congratulations on your finish today, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
There was Kim Andre Bortland, obviously our winner in that very super competitive Pro Am field. We do have the AKM team racing guys, and we'll get them in for a chat in a minute. But I think we need to get in Tom Savage here. Tom, welcome to the booth, mate. And, wow, what can I say? I mean, that was just an amazing race from you. How was that from your point of view?
Yeah, pretty good. A bit scary early on. We were quite close at the front, and there was an incident up ahead, and hell broke loose a bit, I think. But
I suppose that's one of the big things, isn't it, about the endurance racing is to manage the beginning half of the race, and then hopefully by the end of the race it sort of all pans out and stretches out, because it seemed to be that we saw at the start you were in the very long train between the AMs and the Pro Ams, and then it's sort of almost like halfway through the race it sort of opens up. But I suppose it's a bit nervy, like you were saying, the first half of that race, thinking I don't want to be taken out here because that'll be a race ender.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got to apologise to Chalampong. I did give him a little bit of a tap early on. I've not looked at the replay yet, but you know, I didn't end his race, I don't think, so I don't feel too bad. Hopefully, it was all right. You know, after the first pit stop, I was in a nice bubble, so after that it was pretty decent. Just bring it home.
Must be quite good as well, because you obviously came into this round topping the AM, winning this will be extending your lead over there, but it's still very early on in the championship, only 4 of 12 rounds through, so only a third of the way through the championship. How are you? You getting a bit more excited now, thinking I could do this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, so far it seems I'm competitive on pace, which is, you know, good to see. My sort of Achilles heel traditionally is I have a lot of incidents, so it you know, it doesn't look like it maybe from the races, but I've put a lot of work into getting reliable, clean laps down, so I'm glad to see it's paying off, and let's hope it continues.
Yeah, it definitely is. Is that probably one of the things you get from league racing rather than doing the iRacing standard smash fests during the week, is that you get better at the racecraft, and you sort of feel an obligation to the rest of the field to make sure that you can do your one, which in turn basically makes you a better driver.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the first sort of official league. Obviously, the Bear Pope guys, we run our own league sessions. That's all I really do. So it's officials. I do the enduros, and that's pretty much it. So I'd like to think league races make you better. It certainly makes you a more considerate driver. That's for sure.
Well, definitely, mate. Well, congratulations on an emphatic win in the AM class here in the first endurance, and some very valuable points for yourself. But before we let you go, mate, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Well, you know, the usual, you guys. League's been running nice and smoothly mostly so far, so thanks to you. Obviously, the Team Bear Pope gang, you know, we race together every Friday and Sunday every week, and I've gone from being terrible to being less terrible due to them. So yeah, thanks to those guys.
Definitely. Well, thanks ever so much, and congratulations again on your win in the AM class, mate.
Cheers.
Cheers. There was Tom Savage, our winner in the AM class. I'm just having a look to see, do we have the rookie class winner? I don't think we do. No, we don't. So let's have a look. We're probably the most unfortunate driver on the track, Lee King McGee, and over to you, Tom.
I was going to ask Andy, can we bring Michael in at the same time?
Wow.
Get,
You're pushing me now, lot. I will bring him in, though. Let's bring him in.
I got it handled.
There we go.
Lee, Michael, what a race. We were watching both of you very intently during that round. You know, the amount of position changing, battling, unfortunate incidents, especially for yourself, Lee. If you take it in turns or together, please, you know, run us through how that round went for you guys.
You go first, mate.
Tough. Very tough. But no, it was. I enjoyed it. It was definitely an eye-opener doing a two-hour race. But yeah, it was fun though.
What about yourself, Michael?
Mate?
I was just absolutely gutted that I got took out. I'm just by an F1 driver as well. I was devo.
Yeah,
it was tough.
Yeah, we did have that replayed a couple of times on the stream there. So yeah, no, it was a really unfortunate incident. Obviously, you had the Porsche and the Audi battling in front of you, and it you know, it just sort of exploded in front of you, and you didn't really have anywhere to go. And you know, even the contact wasn't massive. It gave you an awful kick that you know, pushed you off, and we you know, we really were heartfelt for you in that moment there. So it's you know, unfortunate, one of those things that happens, and you know, I'm sure we'll write a letter to Haas or Ferrari or whoever we have to, and you know, put in a word for you. But yeah, no, I mean, fantastic driving from both of you guys this evening. It was very impressive to see the results that you got. You know, a second and a third, 2 podium places for the AKM Racing team over the 2-hour endurance. You've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, it absolutely made up, mate. It's that incident. He couldn't have done anything. He come off the grass. It's one of them. If I'd never have messed up the next turn, I'd have most probably finished P1. But it's, you know, it's racing for you, isn't it? And I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad Michael got a podium.
You both
Yeah,
did.
I mean, yeah, you both got a podium.
Yeah, he got P2, didn't he?
Yeah, listen, I've got to beat you sometime.
he got a slightly shinier trophy than yourself, but
Yeah, he done well, mate.
yeah, you honestly, you both did. We watched a lot of your racing during the stream. So I mean, you guys did absolutely fantastic jobs this evening. So you know, massive congratulations on the second and
Cheers,
third.
Tom.
Yeah, no, we're really pleased for you, and you know, we're really glad that AKM Racing Boys have put on a good show here tonight, and you know, we want you up at the front of the podium next week.
We will try our best, mate.
Got to buy the track first.
I know, yeah.
Making you spend money. Making you spend money, oh well. You know, one thing I do want to know, Lee, is obviously at the start of the race, before that incident happened, you had such good pace going on there. You were keeping up with the pace of the pro drivers on there. Is this very much your go-to track?
No, mate. It's like I said, I've only done iRacing about 6 months. I done the Ferrari Challenger this track, and that's the only time I've drove it. It's just putting the hours in, practicing, and then making it count on the track. I was so just consistent, no X's, obviously, until that. It's keeping an eye on my tyres, fuel, and the traffic. It was just easy.
Well, you certainly had the pace there, and obviously that incident put you down the pay. But you still managed to get yourself back up to third, and like you said, you give Michael the opportunity to leapfrog you and win one of the races in front of you. So, Michael, you probably owe Lee a beer for that little nugget. And you nearly had first place. You had Kim in your sights in front of you. What was going through your mind when he came out just in front of you, Michael?
Yeah, it was a very close battle. I really wanted to take it to him really hard, but my front left was absolutely gone. So I think by the time when I checked in the pits at the end of the race, I had 25% left on my front left. So
It was all team as well, because
Yeah.
Simeon was holding him up.
yeah, so Simeon held
He
me up
just said
earlier
that as
on
well.
in the race. Yeah, so Simeon held me up earlier on in the race, so that really put pay to me. That's why I jumped in the pits early to get obviously some clean air, which obviously worked to an extent, but obviously I'd been held up a little bit too much. But if my front left weren't completely and utterly gone, I think I might have just got next to him or so. It would have been more fun, but it was what it was. I'm quite happy with a P2.
As long as I think the main thing is, guys, is you sound like you've enjoyed yourself. Lee, you're probably a little bit disappointed about what happened, but by the sounds of it, you've enjoyed the race, and hopefully you've enjoyed the 2-hour endurance ones. We've got another 2 to go through the season, and obviously next week we go to Barcelona. I guess you're going to be doing some heavy practices. You haven't even got the track.
Yeah, it's not just this race I've enjoyed. I've enjoyed every round. I've enjoyed everything. The guys who I racing with Michael, everything. And then we will be back next season, I promise you. But that incident's an incident. There's nothing he could have done because the iRacing physics on the grass are shocking. But yeah, it's just going to be by the track and hours of practice.
Well, I'm sure you'll have fun, both you and Michael, trying to find the lines around, because Barcelona is an exceptional track. So
Is it the different layout, or is it the same as the one as ACC?
it's the historic, so you haven't got the chicane at the end, so it's the better end of the track.
You'll be grateful for that.
Yeah,
I hate that chicane.
It is. I think everybody does. Hence why we've done the show. But guys, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on a very hard fought. I mean, the Pro-Am division was extremely competitive today. For the majority of that race, there was huge trains of you. To come out as a second and third overall, you must be over the moon for that. But before we let you go, mate, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to? Over to you first, Lee.
Just a big shout out to AKM Racing UK and Michael and Hughes for hosting this amazing season.
Over to you, Michael.
Yeah, obviously my partner in crime, Lee, the team, AKM. Obviously his dad, Andy, does a cracking job at spotting, helping us through. Sometimes. You could say that, I can't. He'll kick me butt. But yeah, fantastic. And obviously thanks to my wife, because when Lee says we practice, we practice. We spend a lot of time in these rigs practicing for the rounds. But yeah, thank you guys to you guys as well. Thank you.
Cheers, guys, and good luck in Barcelona next week.
Cheers, buddies. See you next week.
Cheers, thank you.
Hey guys.
So it was Michael and Lee.
I want to give a quick shout out to their race engineer as well, Andy, because I believe the father of AKM Racing has posted in the YouTube chat and says that they're lucky for having a great race engineer.
Yeah, it's always the unsung heroes. That's all I can say. But got a couple of more. Let's bring them in. Let's go with Simeon. We'll bring in Simeon first. Simeon, welcome to the booth, mates. Congratulations on a second place in the AM, but it must have been a hard fought race for you. How was it?
It was quite good, to be honest. The pace was there, just some mistakes that made me lose to Thomas today. But yeah, overall, I'm quite happy with a P2. Still quite close in the championship with Thomas then. Yeah, just pretty clean race, to be honest.
Well, I mean, it's going to be... I mean, looking at the drop scores that get applied after the end of this, you won Montreal, come second in this. Even if you took your other two poor results out, I think Tom has had... I think he might have had two. So there may be... It's going to be super close between you two at the top. So it's going to be good. But I think the problem with you, and you've even admitted when you're out on the podcast, is the little mistakes. What are you doing to try and rectify the little mistakes you do out on track? How are you addressing that aspect of your racing?
Try, of course, to practice enough so the mistakes aren't coming as often. If I know that I can lap the same lap times over and over without mistakes, that makes it, of course, easier. But today wasn't the best day to have a 2-hour race. I woke up early today to watch the F2 and F1 race, so to have a 2-hour race on the end of today wasn't the perfect timing.
I know, mate, but you know, dedication to the cause and all that, and to your team as well. You would have scored some valuable points because you had Kim Andre Bortland who won the Pro Am, yourself that came second in the Am, so some valuable points to keep you in the fight for the team championship as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, very happy with the team results. Of course, we could have had 2 first places, but that wasn't the case today. We have been quite up the pace in all the races with points in the team, so everything can still happen in a team and driver championships because it's still early in the season. So yeah.
Definitely is. But congratulations on your second place, and obviously, hopefully, this is a turning point that you can catapult onto now to give Tom a real good battle at the top of that AM Championship. Before we let go, mate, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, the team, of course, to help improve and to make it fun to race and practice, and to you guys for setting up this amazing league with all these different fun tracks to race on.
Well, you're more than welcome, mate, and thank you for coming and joining us again for a second season. So that was Simeon there, getting P2 overall in the AMS, and yeah, look forward to seeing you out at Barcelona next week, mate.
Yeah, see you.
Cheers,
So,
Simeon.
we can't leave Paul Joseph Clist waiting there patiently to come in for an interview, and I'll hand over PJC to yourself, Tom.
Paul, your race, it was close, but not close enough, unfortunately. We were keeping a good eye on you during the stream, and we were hoping that you were going to gain a little bit more time on Nicholas there during the closing stages of that race, because he did have to pit for a splash and dash at the end, and we noticed that you were doing a very good job on fuel saving. Did you know that was on the cards for you to potentially jump him in the pits, or was that not something that you knew about?
I didn't really have Nicholas on my radar, to be fair. He was pretty much gone from turn 2, lap 2. But yeah, I couldn't even catch Nicholas, to be fair with you.
Yeah, I mean, your pace, to be honest, it seemed good. I mean, you seemed like you were really managing the Porsche very, very well. Was it a car on this track that you found was quite good, or I mean, most of the guys in the top runners were running obviously the BMW, but the Porsche itself, did it seem okay around Road America, or were you having any issues?
No, it seemed to be pretty smart, to be fair with you. With the Olympus team, Scott Moak's helping me. Some of the sponsors too helping me practice in the Porsche a little bit extra, and getting the elbows out when needed to. Trying to break up some of the team Bupa's teamwork is kind of outstanding and can be tricky to overtake, but managed to do that today pretty easy.
No, that's awesome. Obviously, being in the rookie class, are you finding now that the more racing that you're doing through the leagues, and obviously with the help with Olympus are giving you, are you finding that your racecraft is coming on stronger, being in these these more competitive league races themselves?
Yeah, since I joined Olympus, my sim racing career has come a extremely long way. Andy would have known with racing with 2 other different leagues, it wasn't really on tip-top condition. Joining Olympus has completely changed that.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think Andy and I both will agree that we have seen a dramatic change in even just like your consistency. For example, you know, you're hitting the apexes better, you're putting the lap times in more consistently, and you know, you're a more well-rounded driver now coming into obviously our season 2, and Olympus obviously have helped you a lot with that, so that's definitely working for you. With the endurance round we had today, which is obviously a 2-hour as opposed to our normal shorter race, did you find it difficult to maintain focus over that longer period of time, because you're basically doing like a proper endurance round double stint in that time? Was it something you found difficult?
No, I think I'm pretty used to long endurance races, considering doing the Nürburgring Endurance Championship, which is like a 4-hour solo. But yeah, doing that is pretty insane. So doing that constantly has kept my focus, and Scott Moakes is keeping me on my toes, and yeah, it's pretty good fun.
That's awesome. So what you're saying is this was easy, and we need to make it longer.
That's it.
What I
I
do
was
want to
gonna say-
know, what I do want to know, Paul, is did you get a 0x today?
I certainly did.
You are insane.
Bravo, bravo,
Yeah,
bravo.
definitely.
Yeah, bravo. That is ridiculous. That
Well,
is, Scott needs to learn from you. You don't need to learn anything. You should be teaching Scott
I
how to
know.
get the 0 X's.
Scott has been an absolute hero.
He is good.
Yeah,
lad.
he is a nice bloke. Yeah, we had a bit of a chat about him earlier, and unfortunately it didn't work out for him today in this round. But yeah, no, he's Mr. Consistency, so definitely somebody good to learn from. So, but yeah, no, fantastic result for you today, mate, getting a second place. And is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to give Olympus Esports a massive thank you. Their sponsors and everything else. Whoever's been helping me behind this series has been incredible. You two, for keeping this performance link alive and heading in the right direction.
That's awesome, mate. We really appreciate that, and you'll be pleased to see a lot of your action on stream. And congratulations today on your second place podium result.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Paul. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
That was PJC, obviously second in the rookies, and it's been a really good race overall, I think, Tom. And our first endurance of season 2. We only had one. I think it was we had 2 in season 1. We got 3 in season 2. I think the drivers actually like it because it gives a bit of variety to the races on there, and having the bigger tracks to do the endurance races gives the opportunity to be able to do it. I don't think we'll be able to do it on a smaller track like Alton Park or something, but certainly on the bigger tracks of iRacing, it's been good. And you've heard all the guys there coming in; they've really enjoyed the endurance rounds, and I'm pretty sure they're going to enjoy the rest of the rounds that are coming at us in the endurance.
Yeah, the endurance rounds is something that, as you said, it's nice to spice it up a little bit. Having that hour and a bit race that we normally do as the regular round, it gives you that chance to catch up, or if you make a mistake, it's not race over. That's one reason why at Performance Link we don't do sprint races, because we don't want people to jump on for 15-20 minutes, smash and bash everybody, and then jump off again. It's nice to be able to have that bit more longevity where you can pick your time to make a move, a pass, and do it that way. So I feel like season 1 was a great success, and season 2 is definitely going in the right direction, as the guys were saying. And a big thank you to everybody for joining us on the YouTube, and also for the drivers for joining us each week for the races.
Definitely. So next week we got Barcelona, back to the hour and 10 races, historical layout. It's going to be an interesting race, that one.
Yeah, I love Barcelona. I hate Watkins, as everybody knows. But Barcelona is an absolutely fantastic track. I just think it has so much flow and variety, and it's something that you've got to be aggressive at. There's lots and lots of high speed, lots of low speed. I think the BMW may struggle a little bit there, to be honest. I'm thinking that Audi is going to be strong at Barcelona, so something that gives you really good rotation on the brakes is going to be crucial around there. So it's going to be one to watch, and obviously track temperature. That's another thing that's going to be a potential problem at Barcelona. So we'll have to have a look and see what the date is and what the track temps are going to be for that. But it's going to be another interesting round. I mean, today was fantastic, and I think a lot of the guys were surprised with the amount of wind that we had. So we'll have to wait till we go to Barcelona and see what she brings.
Yeah, definitely, and it's going to be an interesting one. But I think that brings us to the end of this broadcast, and big thank you to all you guys out there who have stuck with us for this extended version of this round number 4 of the Performance Link GT3 Cup. And it's going to be it was an interesting race today, but it's only a third of this season has been completed. We've still got 2/3 coming up with some very interesting rounds, and a big thank you to you guys for sticking with us. Please give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the stream. If you haven't subscribed, where have you been? Click that subscribe button and click the bell for every time we go live. live. Like I said, we do a midweek pit stop that you can come along, you can chat to us, we interact with you, look at the penalties from this round. If any of them come in, we normally try and get a driver in to find out a little bit more about the racer themselves, rather than just seeing them on a screen. We get them in on the webcam and find out a little bit more about them. But from myself, Andy Thompson, from Tom Bingham beside me, and from myself in the production, I'm learning to do it a little bit better each week. Thank you very much for being with us tonight, but we'll see you at the same time next week for an hour and 10-minute race around Barcelona. Good night.